On behalf of the Villa Park Junior Women's Club, we would like to welcome you to tonight's Candidates Forum. My name is Lizzie Roscoe, and I will be your moderator this evening. The Villa Park Junior Women's Club is pleased to have the opportunity to help the residents of Villa Park make informed decisions on Election Day, Tuesday, April 6th. Please note that our club does not endorse candidates. We are simply providing a public service to the residents of Villa Park. This 2021 forum is our most robust yet and quite unique. And we appreciate everyone's patience as we not only transition between the various groups this evening to ensure we are compliant with safety protocols, but we are also broadcasting live on Facebook. As such, we apologize in advance should there be any technology glitches. We will do our best to get the forum back online as soon as possible if that happens. We're beginning tonight with the Villa Park Library Board candidates, followed by candidates for College of DuPage Board of Trustees, York Township candidates, and after that, we will hear from District 88 and District 45 school board candidates. And finally, we will wrap up the forum with our Villa Park Village Trustee and Village Presidential candidates. We did want to note that District 48 school board candidates were also invited, but were unable to attend. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to introduce herself or himself. They will then each have 1.5 minutes to answer a question or questions that we received in advance from Villa Park citizens. After this, candidates will be given 1 minute to provide a closing statement. Members of the Villa Park Junior Women's Club and Political Forum Committee will hold up countdown signs to help keep you on track. As a reminder, there will be no questions from the audience. So let's welcome our library board candidates. There are 2 library board categories on this year's ballot. First, there are 4 candidates for 4 open positions for a 4-year term. Those candidates are Steve De La Rosa, Diane Lubker, Adelaide Pat Hubbard, who could not attend this evening but did provide a statement, Wanda Keller, who also could not attend this evening and provided a statement. There are also 2 candidates for 2 open positions to fill a 2-year unexpired term. Those candidates are Deborah Canali, who is here this evening, and Jennifer Hovanek, who could not attend but did provide a statement. Thank you for being here to all of you, and now you'll have 2 minutes to tell us a little bit about yourselves and why you are running for library board. We will start with Steve De La Rosa.
Good evening. There we go, that's better. My name is Steve De La Rosa, and I want to echo the announcer for thanking everybody for coming tonight to attend this event hosted by the Villa Park Junior Women's Club. I have lived in DuPage County since 1986 and have lived in Villa Park since 2001. Marcia, my wife, and our son attends Willowbrook High School and is a member of the Villa Park Scout Troop 199 of St. A's. I retired from food manufacturing and packaging work as a maintenance manager professional. Living in Villa Park has provided me with many chances to be involved in our community. For 20 years, I was a volunteer and board member of the Citizens Advocacy Center in Elmhurst. The Citizen Advocacy Center is an award-winning, nonprofit, nonpartisan, free community legal organization. I am a member of the Amos Project of the First Church of Lombard, which is a social justice group operating under the umbrella of the United Church of Christ. I actively participate with the Immigrant Solidarity DuPage Labor Group, working to provide support for the documented and the immigrants who call DuPage their home.
We will now ask Diane Lubker to please introduce herself.
Good evening. Thank you, Villa Park Junior Women's Club, for hosting tonight's forum. I am Diane Lubker, and I am seeking re-election as a trustee to the Villa Park Library Board. I have held a trustee position since being appointed in 2016 to fill a board vacancy and subsequently elected to a 4-year term. I have been a Villa Park resident for 42 years since 1978. I am married to Jim for 12 years, have 2 grown children and 2 grandsons. Both of my children attended Ardmore, Jackson, and Willowbrook High School, as well as frequented the Villa Park Library for story hour, books, and meeting up with friends to study together, way back before social distancing. Over the years, I have been a room mother, treasurer of Ardmore PTA, and assistant Brownie leader, and since 2005, a member of the Friends of the Villa Park Library, currently as vice president. The Friends of the Villa Park Library is a fundraising group that sponsors various programs that fall outside the library's budget, such as movies in Cortese Park held in August, prizes for various library events, and purchasing the library Christmas tree on the Prairie Path during Joyful Traditions, just to name a few. I have also eagerly participated in many of the fall murder mystery plays held at the library. Being on stage is both scary and thrilling. I have truly enjoyed being a Villa Parker all these years, walking the Prairie Path, listening to the summer concerts in the park, visiting the Historical Museum to learn Villa Park's story, participating in the 4th of July parades, winning the Willowbrook Music Boosters Trivia Contest 5 years running, canvassing my neighborhood to support the library's referendum, being a part of the community, and giving back by serving as a trustee on the Villa Park Library Board. Thank you.
Now we would ask Deborah Canali to please come and introduce herself. And after Deborah introduces herself, I will read opening statements from the other candidates who could not be here this evening.
Good evening. On behalf of the candidates on the library board, I do thank the Villa Park Junior Women's Club for having us tonight. My name is Deborah Canali. I have been a library board trustee since December of 2019, and I currently serve on the finance committee. I am a D45 substitute teacher. I live here in Villa Park with my family, my husband Dan, and I have a 3rd grader and a 5th grader. I'm also the co-treasurer of Park Advocates. I first got involved with the library when my kids were younger. Then I was part of the Friends of the Library. I worked on the 2nd referendum for the new library. And in my previous life, I was working downtown for a small financial consulting firm as an investment consulting, advising on small foundations and family portfolios for over 20 years. Thank you.
Adelaide Pat Hubbard is also running for one of the 4-year terms, and I'm going to read her opening statement because she could not be here this evening. My name is Adelaide Hubbard, and I'm a candidate for library trustee in the April 9th election. Pat is my nickname, so on the ballot, I will be listed as Adelaide Pat Hubbard. I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and moved to Chicago when I married my husband, Don. Don, our daughter Ray, and I moved to Villa Park from Chicago in 1970. Presently, I live at 105 North Michigan Avenue in the same house that Don and I shared for 32 years. Ray also lives in Villa Park with her husband, Fred. In 2006, I retired from District 45 after 37 years of working as a teacher, reading specialist, assistant principal, and principal. Since then, I continued my involvement in the library and my church and have been involved in school referenda. So my roots run deep in Villa Park. Villa Park is very special to me, and I am proud to have served as a library trustee since the early 1990s. The reason that I have chosen to be a candidate to serve another term as library trustee is that the library is so vital to our community. The Villa Park Public Library has always been an important part of my family's life. My husband Don was an avid reader, so the library was absolutely necessary, and my daughter Ray truly enjoyed the programs and all the wonderful books. For me, the library has been and continues to be a very important source for information and learning through books, programs, and technology. Our library makes these resources available to all residents just for the asking. Jennifer Hovanek is running for one of the 2-year unexpired terms. She could not be here this evening, so I will also read her statement. My name is Jennifer Hovanik, and I am running for the Library Board Trustee for Villa Park Public Library. I began my service on the library board last fall, completing the term of a trustee who retired from that position. I'm sorry I cannot be with all of you tonight, but I'm thankful for you to hear my thoughts on these important questions. I work as a library director myself for the Calumet City Public Library. I earned my master's degree in library and information sciences in 2011, and I have worked in libraries since 2009. During my work, I've had the opportunity to gain a robust understanding of the intricate details of library budgeting, library legal, and legislative issues, as well as the importance of community in making decisions for this community resource. Libraries are one of the few places left in our world that welcome and serve a wide variety of age groups, economic statuses, and skill levels. Libraries are a place for everyone, and the Villa Park Public Library is an exemplary model for that motto. Now that we've had the introductions, we will start with the questions. There was one question sent in for the incumbent candidates, so this evening that will be Steve and Diane, and then I will read the answers that Adelaide and Wanda Keller also had. So the first question that we will ask of Steve: what would you like to accomplish during your term to improve the brand new library even more?
Okay. So thank you for the introduction. Our Villa Park Library Board has been working for the residents of Villa Park. The experienced leadership team at the library has worked efficiently to steward the treasure that the library represents to our community. We have followed the science and the guidance of library professional organizations to keep our library associates and all of the users of the library safe and sound during the ongoing pandemic. We will continue to do so, utilizing all of the electronic tooling available to get our library sources into the hands of the people. As the pandemic abates, we will match its course to provide more open hours to accommodate our patrons. Thank you for supporting the library, and please vote to support all of our library trustee candidates. But please remember to vote for Steve Della Rosa for library trustee.
We will ask the same question of Diane Lubker. What would you like to accomplish during your term to improve the brand new library even more?
During this crisis, we've had to cut back on hours and staff. Programs and events have been delayed or canceled. Cleaning and sanitizing have become an art form. It's been frustrating for everyone. It's not so much new improvements that I'd like to see as much as a continuation of the improvements already made. Our new building is spacious and welcoming, and as we come out of our pandemic hibernation, more patrons will be able to come and enjoy the library and its offerings. An improvement stemming from the effects of the pandemic has had the library pivot from in-person programs to growing and enhancing online programming, a very welcome addition for non-drivers, mothers of young children, and the infirm. So welcome, in fact, that online programs will be permanent. The lockers enabling patrons to order and pick up books even when the library is closed has been very well received. And the use of SWAN, a network of local libraries, has made resources outside our collection available to patrons. Improving our policies, emergency response, and staff training is ongoing and vital to the safety of all of our patrons. I believe with the utmost confidence that over the next 4-year term and the term after that and ongoing, the Villa Park Library will continue its current direction forward. Thank you.
As we mentioned, Pat Hubbard and Wanda Keller cannot be with us this evening, but I do have their answers to the same question. What would you like to accomplish during your term to improve the brand-new library even more? Wanda says, the library is a wonderful institution for our community. I want to ensure that we on the library board continue to reach out to all populations in Villa Park. I want to make sure that those who speak another language feel welcomed and comfortable at the library. I hope that every citizen feels that the library is there to serve them. I'm particularly excited because every part of the library soon will be open for business. Thank you. Pat Hubbard's answer to the same question. As you know, we had our ribbon cutting in October 2019. The staff had a new environment in which to provide library service to our residents. Then in March 2020, only about 5 months later, all of our lives changed. The library, as well as many entities, closed. Our staff had barely found their bearings in the new and renovated library and had to begin working remotely. New procedures and even new responsibilities had to be addressed. The process of reopening safely in phases began with offering curb service. Now, as we are beginning to return to all staff being at the library, the process of learning the library's full potential will begin. As library trustee, I, along with my fellow board members, are responsible for the financial and policy aspects of the library. The budget defines the goal of our library. Our library board has a history of offering the best library service within our budget constraints. I want to see that continue. The residents of Villa Park gave us all a great gift. This means to have a new and renovated building. The library board and staff will have and continue to provide programs, materials, and technology to residents who come to the library. Our library staff has been involved in reaching out to residents who do not or cannot come to the library, providing information about services offered remotely, establishing and regularly replenishing materials in little libraries throughout the village, and going into the schools to provide services are examples of this outreach. I wish to accomplish offering additional outreach services to those residents. Our community is diverse. Our library does provide service to address this. I wish to make it available in our budget, the financial support to increase programs, materials, and services to further address our diverse community. Now we're going to ask Deborah Canale to come back up. Again, Deborah is running for one of the 2 open positions for the 2-year unexpired term. We did have 2 questions for the candidates for that position. The first is, how would your election to the library and board improve the board as a whole?
Thank you so much. I have to say the diversity I bring through my work and volunteer experience over the years really it helped me as far as being elected to the library board and be able to improve the board as much as I can. I had mentioned before that I was an investment consultant, and as I was an investment consultant for over 20 years, working with $20 million portfolios, working with different people, different personalities in turbulent markets, it gives you a good base to work with many different things that tend to come up. Also, having a family in Villa Park, raising 2 kids in the D45 school district, and that it allows me to, as I mentioned, I had gone to the library early on with the kids, and I have to say, every time that I end up going to the library, before I was a board member, the more resources that they have, and I was aware of, and that the library is a great resource for the community. And living in Villa Park for almost 21 years, really, it's an amenity that I encourage a lot of people to take advantage of, to use. We've got great space for it. The other point I wanted to make is I was previous president and director of events for an organization that I helped create early on. And again, that too allows you to see all sides of an organization and what comes through. Thank you.
As we mentioned, Jennifer Hovanec could not be here this evening, but she did provide a statement, so I will go ahead and read that statement, and then we will have Deborah come back up to answer the second question. The question again is, how would your election to the library board improve the board as a whole? During my short time on the board, I have been serving on the policy committee, which reviews and discusses both personnel and public policies for the library. This has meant that I've had a firsthand opportunity to add a community-centric point of view to library operations. As a librarian myself, I am happy to bring the field knowledge I have to the extremely knowledgeable Library Board of Trustees. It is an honor to represent the viewpoints of our community to the library staff. By mixing my commitment to the neighborhood and all segments of the Villa Park population with my experience and expertise in the library science field, I believe that I bring a unique viewpoint and continuum of knowledge to the library board. The second question we asked was, what is one change you would like to see happen during your term to improve the library? I will go ahead and read Jennifer Hovanek's answer. I would like to see the Villa Park Public Library continue to break down barriers to service even further than it already has. I'd like for us to continue to safely reevaluate and open our library again to full services for patrons of all ages. The library staff is smart and has come up with amazing ways to stay connected to our community. I want to continue supporting their work to do that as we grow past the COVID-19 pandemic. The main goal I would like to accomplish during my next term on the library board is that I would like to see the library go fine-free by 2023. Multiple peer-reviewed studies have shown that by removing the late fee barrier that fines place on patrons, particularly people who are already experiencing financial instability, library usage on the whole actually increases. There are ways to still hold patrons accountable for checked-out materials without utilizing a monetarily punitive method. By putting an end date on the plan of 2023 that allows library staff and the Board of Trustees to put policies and plans in place that will sustain the library's collection while continuing to break down barriers to service. Right, we will ask Deborah to come back up again and answer that same question. What is one change you would like to see happen during your time to improve the library?
The purpose of the 2020-2022 strategic plan for the library is to remain relevant during these challenging times and for future generations. I think we've seen challenging times, and the library has adapted beautifully to these changes with an abundance of resources that they have introduced during this pandemic. They have changed the new library, the physical building of the new library, and they have established a great foundation, a truly great foundation. I want to continue to be part of the internal transition to continue to move this library forward. Out of this pandemic, accompanying the needs and the wants for our residents and for future generations. I have a vested interest in the community by living here in Villa Park and using the amenities in Villa Park that my property taxes go towards to benefit our library, our schools, and our village. I'm in it for the long haul. I don't want to be just a passenger traveling here through, or just a passenger in Villa Park. I want to be able to drive change, expand on the great foundation that the library has laid out from the previous trustees of the library. So I thank you very much.
That brings us to the wrap-up for our library board candidates, where they can have a concluding statement if they would like. I will go ahead and read the concluding statement that we've been sent by both Pat Hubbard and Jennifer Hovanek. Jennifer says, back in August of 2020, I was drawn to apply for the Villa Park Public Library Board of Trustee opening because, like many of us during the COVID-19 shelter-in-place mandate of 2020, I had a lot of time to think. I decided during the long months of spending more time at home that I wanted to do more and give back to the world, specifically my neighborhood. I want to do something that will live on and help to make the world a better place for others. When I saw the call for a replacement trustee at the library, it felt like perfect timing. Going through the application and interview process, meeting the sitting library trustees, the library director and deputy director truly helped me to see what was going to be a great use of my desire to give back to my community. I've been happily serving since then, and it would be my great honor to continue that volunteer work. I'll now read Pat Hubbard's closing statement. In closing, I reiterate that the library is vital to our community. It strives to provide programs, materials, and services to all residents. I, as a library trustee, will continue to work with fellow board members to address needs and improvements within the library and out in the community as they arise in the future, making our library's motto, Read, Explore, Enjoy, a reality for all residents of Villa Park. We will now ask Steve, followed by Diane, and then Deborah to please come up and provide their closing statements.
Basically, for my closing statement, I'd like to offer that I look forward to continuing the work that this board has been doing with the library, because it has sustained the library building and the staff all through this pandemic. We've worked very hard to make sure that the staff and the patrons we serve are safe and protected during this time period. We look forward, or I look forward to seeing other improvements happen in the library that can embrace the growing group of senior citizens that is in the area in terms of Alzheimer's and in terms of resources for Alzheimer's to use within our village. I thank you for listening and look forward to your vote. Thank you.
I am extremely proud that as a voting resident, I had a part in enabling the Villa Park Library to expand and improve its footprint in our community. I urge all Villa Park residents to please come out and vote and be heard. Thank you.
As I've mentioned before, many times before, is when I think back, I cannot imagine if that second referendum for our library did not go through. It would have killed me, frankly, if the library was not established, if it was not rebuilt. Again, there are so many resources at the library, and it accommodates all the residents of Villa Park. They have fantastic programs for teens, tweens, babies, adults, elderly, across the board. So as Diane had mentioned, get out and vote, which is really important. And again, the library has a great staff, great leadership, and they have truly a strategic plan for the future. Thank you.
We'd like to thank all of our library candidates for attending tonight and those who sent in answers and also statements. We are now done with our library board candidates, and we please ask for just a few moments of patience from our audience who is watching live, as we are going to transition now and soon welcome our College of DuPage Board of Trustee candidates to the stage. Thank you. It'll be just a few moments. We are excited to have some of the College of DuPage Board of Trustee candidates with us this evening. There are 8 candidates running for 3 open positions. We did have 5 candidates who are not able to be with us this evening. One did send in a statement and provided a video. Another candidate also sent in a video. Those hopefully will be edited in at a later date to possibly the YouTube video that will be shown on the village's YouTube page at a later date. So this evening we have with us Daniel Malloy, Andrew Mano, and Texa Sun. We just went over that too, so I apologize, Andrew. So again, Daniel Malloy, Andrew Mano, and Texa Sun. They will each have 2 minutes to introduce themselves and tell us why they're running for the board. Flo Appel could not be here this evening, but she did send in a statement, so I will go ahead and read her opening statement before we turn it over to Daniel to introduce himself. I am Dr. Florence Appel, and I am proud to be running for one of the 3 open seats on the College of DuPage Board of Trustees on a slate with Don Potosny and Nick Howard. My 32-year career in higher education included many faculty and administrative leadership roles. This has prepared me well for service on the COD board. I understand the mission of serving students, the centrality of faculty as a lifeblood of an academic institution, and the complexities of fiscally responsible academic programming. I want to help the COD address the problem of low enrollments in the context of the college's emergence from the pandemic. I recommend prioritizing outreach and service to students who have recently faced insurmountable personal and academic situations and developing new academic programming that is targeted to job training for emerging careers in our district. The college can do so much to fulfill its mission as a community resource as we move on from our current economic hardships. COD must acknowledge faculty and staff's extraordinary measures to continue to serve their students during this challenging time. And it must decide what balance to strike going forward regarding in-person and online options for teaching and learning and the delivery of student services. COD is a jewel in our community, offering a large variety of degree and certification options, remediation for those who need it, and lifelong adult learning and enrichment opportunities. And everyone loves the MAC for its rich cultural offerings. Our Slate website is donflonick4forcod.com. Again, that is donflonick4cod.com. And it links to each of our individual pages. Thank you. Now that we've read that opening statement from Dr. Appel, we will ask Daniel Malloy to please come provide his opening statement. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Malloy. I am from LaGrange, Illinois. I'm from the Cook County portion of College of DuPage. I went to Lyons Township High School, where COD actually started in 1929. It eventually became too big as Lyons Junior College and moved on to Glen Ellen, where it is today. I am a board member of the LaGrange Area Historical Society, where we like to preserve the history of the greater LaGrange area. I am a former alum of COD and an alum of Lyons Township High School, Illinois State University. I am from an education family. My dad was a teacher in high school in Darien for 30 years. My mom was in charge of special ed in the elementary school that I went to, and my brother teaches at the junior high that we both attended. Education is an immense part of who I am, why I'm here, and what I want for the future. My generation has been riddled with student debt that no one will be able to escape. You know, I just talked to one of the other members who's running about how student debt will follow my generation and millennials forever, and how it will follow our kids forever. And we'll never be able to get past that. So I think COD is such an immense and important part of our community, where students from high school age to someone in their 70s looking for a new skill, somebody in their 40s who is looking for a new career after they've lost it, who has kids, who still needs to feed a family. They can go there and have affordable education, learn a new skill, have a fulfilling career. And as a community, we can take care of each other and have people live and stay in this community as they go forward. So on April 6th, go out and vote. It is immensely important to support local elections. Oftentimes we get lost in the glamour and the spotlight of the national elections, but when really the most important part is the community that we live in. So thank you very much, and I'm Daniel Malloy.
We'll now ask Andrew Mano to please come, introduce himself, and tell us why you are running for the board.
Thank you. As she said, my name is Andrew Mano. I'm running for the College of DuPage Board of Trustees. I'm running because about 6 years ago, the College of DuPage was in the news for all the wrong reasons. And a group of public servants ran together, called the Clean Slate Ticket, to really reform the College of DuPage and ensure that students are granted every opportunity that they deserve, ensuring and protecting the taxpayers' dollars, and really rebuilding COD to put them in the news for the right reasons. and COD is in the news now for the right reasons. I'm running to ensure that the taxpayers' dollars are taken care of, to grant more opportunities for students to build upon what those reforms are. I want to build upon the Guided Pathways program that is in place, which is focusing on the student's end outcome, end goal, and then working backwards to make sure that they're achieving whatever that end outcome, end goal is, whether it's a certificate, whether it's a degree, whether it's just learning more about PowerPoint or Microsoft Word, whatever it is, making sure they're achieving their goals and their outcomes in the most efficient and affordable way possible. I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago. I went to public high school, and then I went on to Illinois State University as well, where I graduated with a double major in political science and English studies. From there, I had the bright idea to go to law school, and I became an attorney. I'm currently a civil defense attorney in downtown Chicago. With all of that, I bring the experience of being able to critically think and critically analyze the issues that are facing the board. Again, building on the Pathways program, providing opportunities to students, building upon and providing more stackable degree programs and more technology-based classes to really build towards the future and provide the students an opportunity for a future that they deserve and a future that they make for themselves. Because I'm running to make sure that the community college, to make sure that the community aspect of that is put back into community college. And vote for me. Early voting has started, and I appreciate your vote on April 6th. Thank you.
Now we'll hear from the third candidate who is here in person today, Texa Sun, who will introduce himself and tell us why he is running for College of DuPage Board of Trustees.
Hello, everyone. My name is Texa. Thank you for the Villa Park Junior Women's Club for organizing this event. Hi, people on the Facebook. The reason I'm running is multiple, and I don't think I can finish in 2 minutes. But I'm going to tell you my website first. You can look it up if I don't finish in time. The website is elermount.org, E-L-E-M-O-U-N-T. Okay, the first reason I can start with is I think I found a fairly unique way of solving problems, which I have not heard from other candidates so far. Basically, my platform has 6 folds. One is no tax increases because everybody is under stress. 2 is no fee increases because student families are also under stress. The third is no budget cuts because I believe the faculty and the staff, they needs to be employed by COD. And the number 4 is to raise adjunct pay. I think it's a very big issue. It's systemic. It's not only in COD, but it's, I believe, maybe across the whole country. And number 5 is people will ask, how can you achieve that with all these constraints? I think the key is to employ something called a pay for performance. This is a very typical technique in any enterprise. And by motivating teachers and motivating staff to work more effectively, I believe we can solve those problems. And then number 6 can be more controversial because I'm still struggling to understand, which is my proposal is to remove tenure. I believe the tenure is invented to address the academic freedom in a research university, but the COD is not. I understand that, thank you for the reminder, that we have labor contracts and so forth. But I think we should at least start looking whether tenure is necessary. It could be a good intention that maybe go to a negative consequence. Thank you very much.
The community did send in 2 questions for the COD trustee candidates that we will ask them. Again, Flo Appel did send in an answer to the question, so I'm going to go ahead and read her answer to the question first, and then we will ask Daniel, Andrew, and Texa to please come up and answer the same question. So the first question asked is, as a trustee, what programs and policies would you work on changing first? Flo's answer to that question is, I think what actually needs changing first is the culture of the board. I have watched many board meetings online and find it troubling then when large, multifaceted programs are presented for approval, there are very few questions and there is little to no discussion. One gets the feeling that everything has already been decided, but I believe that public board meetings should have a climate that encourages questions for clarification and critical inquiry. After all, the board is defined as an oversight body of the administration and is accountable to the public. I am also troubled when I witness faculty being treated as an afterthought when the board is charged with approving programs and policies that have major impacts on COD's teaching learning enterprise. The faculty has consistently demonstrated its commitment to students and the college, and they should be trusted, recognized, and included in these decisions. Faculty-administration relations are very strained right now, and our presence on the board can support a much-needed communication conduit between the two parties. We will now ask again our candidates Daniel, Andrew, and Texa to please come and answer the same two questions. The first question again, as a trustee, what programs and policies would you work on changing first? So I'll ask Daniel to please come answer that question.
That works. Thank you. I think that's an extremely important position or question. So there's a couple of different programs that I'd like to address. One, there is a program in place right now called the Guided Pathways Program, which I think is extremely effective and needs to be capitalized on. It is an open enrollment college with almost 30,000 students. All of those students have different needs and need to be addressed differently. So with the Guided Pathways Program, we can start with those kids in high school and then decide where you need to be to graduate in a certain amount of time or to move on to a four-year college. You know, a four-year college is often not affordable, so this is a great step for kids to make it there, or kids who have no desire to go on to a four-year education at all and just want to learn the trade skills or certain aspects that they need to go on to a fulfilling career. I also agree the communication between the board members who represent the entire community. There's only 7. There's a footprint of over 1 million people in this county. It is an extremely large county. If it was a state, it would be the 41st biggest state. You know, most states have 2 senators, and this is a community college footprint here. So communication between the staff, the administration, and the board who represents the community needs to be improved on. There was a very rough situation with the contract negotiations with the faculty. The adjunct faculty, their contract is coming up pretty soon too. That needs to be addressed. The adjunct faculty makes up 2/3 of the entire faculty. Their pay is often very low. They need better conditions, better working conditions. They need to have pay that reflects it. It's a very hard career. I understand some teachers only do it for certain classes when they do have full-time jobs, but it is also, adjunct faculty is a full-time faculty as well. So I think those are 2 things that really need to be focused on going forward.
We are going to ask Andrew to come up and answer the same question for the people watching on our Facebook Live. Again, the question was, how would your apologies for that. As a trustee, what programs and policies would you work on changing first?
So the question of what programs or policies would I change first suggests that things need to change. I do believe that change needs to occur, but I don't believe that large-scale change needs to happen. I believe that that large-scale change and reform has happened over the past 6 years, and it's changed for the better. I do believe that communication needs to be better, not only with the faculty, with the adjuncts, but with the community. I'm running to put the community back in community college, and that means opening the doors not only to the meetings, but also having more opportunities to get community feedback, to get faculty involvement. Professors all across the country in higher learning and even in the high school level have office hours or that type of ability for students to interact with their professors. I think that office hours approach can be easily implemented with board members so that you don't have to wait a month between meetings so you can get your questions asked and to get feedback from those board members. I think the Guided Pathways program should be expanded on. I call it a Guided Pathways Plus. The Guided Pathways program ensures that students are able to achieve their end outcome and goal in the institution of higher learning. The Guided Pathways Plus would work with community leaders and business leaders in the district to make sure that we're bridging the gap from classroom to career. It'll work the same way of when they're in college, they can work with those leaders. If they're in if they want to become a mechanic, they can work with one of the many mechanics that are in the industry, working with the technology field. There's all these opportunities out there, and members of the community want to work with students at COD. I think it's a great program. And just to touch on the board's position of when they pass those multifaceted programs and there's no discussion, there is discussion, there's feedback that is given prior to that point. So I think that's something that needs to be understood, is that there is feedback, but of course there can be more feedback. Thank you.
We'd like to ask Texa the same question. As a trustee, what programs and policies would you work on changing first?
Hi, folks. Sorry, I forgot my cosplay setup in the previous question. I thought as a college trustee, I'm supposed to have some class, right? Anyway, I'm not going to repeat about the agenda, which is the pay for adjunct pay, increase the pay of adjuncts. Thank you, Daniel, that he has already covered. So I'm going to focus for the rest of time on this controversial issue about removing tenure in the college. I assume I don't know too much about this, so I look forward to hear feedback from the community. My email is on the website. Towards the end of the page, it's highlighted, elemount.org. And so once I understand that, I would propose we should have a hearing to facilitate community feedback, especially from faculty, the full-time faculty who will be mostly impacted. I really want to hear their concern. But I believe this is a positive change for them as well, because the ultimate job security is a constant, lifelong self-improvement, not a paper-based guarantee from a government. How much time do I have, lady? Thank you. Okay, now I have some time for another issue, which is also on my website, is the American concept of manual labor college, which is use the real work experience as a true education means. And that increases income to the family at the same time while they're attending college. So hopefully that will address the next question later. Same thing, the details on the website. I will yield to the rest of my time. Thank you very much.
We have a second question from the community for our COD candidates, which is, how would you work to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion across campus? I will go ahead first and read Flo Appel's answer, and then we will ask Daniel to come back up, followed by Andrew and Texa to answer that question. COD has structural and programmatic solutions to the systemic issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. In addition to the Center for Student Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, which promotes social understanding, cultural awareness, unity, and belonging among students and the entire college community, the administration hosts an equity, access, and inclusive teaching faculty development program, as well as an equity and access team that addresses issues of inequalities across racial, ethnic, and economic student demographics. Most recently, the team issued a report that identified the need for a more racially diverse faculty and administration. As a new trustee, I would like to see the board evaluate all of these efforts to gain a comprehensive understanding of their effectiveness and value to the COD community. These are hard issues to address, so they require regular attendance and commitment. The same question we will then ask again if Daniel could come up first. How would you work to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion across campus?
Thank you. That is an extremely important position or question. I think that starts even before people get to campus. I believe that knowledge, or the ability to gain knowledge, is a human right and not a privilege. We live in the wealthiest country, in one of the wealthiest states, in one of the wealthiest counties in the history of the world. No one should be denied an education or an ability to gain knowledge just because of their economic levels, their race, their gender, their religion. Any aspect of their entire life should never be a reason to deny somebody the ability to gain knowledge. I love where I live, and this is one of the reasons why I'm running. And the absolute support the community gives to the community college needs to be extended to everybody in that community who can come here and address an issue where they can gain knowledge to go on to a career or learn a new skill. Part of what I love about the community college is it doesn't discriminate you based on age. If you're somebody in your late 60s and you want to take an art class, you can come and do that. So by fostering an inclusive and diverse student body from all walks of life is an extremely important position, and it really starts by letting people know all of the things that COD has to offer and what they can do there. I also think that extends to the faculty and the administration. It needs to be a representation of the entire community. There needs to be more women, more minorities, the entire situation or the entire community and our county. So by marketing and letting people know what we do at the community college is an extremely important way to get more people there and have a more diverse culture at the community college. Thank you.
For those of you who are on our Facebook Live, just so you remember what the question is, and we will ask of Andrew, how would you work to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion across campus at COD?
I would work to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion by having a conversation. These are tough issues and tough conversations to have, but they're conversations that need to be had with not only the inner circle of the board, but expanded with the administration, with the faculty, with the adjuncts, and with the community. Until you have that conversation and have that group effort, you can't begin to address the problems with equity, with inclusion, and with diversity. So having that conversation needs to be had, number one. Number two, you can't have true equity and inclusion and diversity if going to community college is unattainable. And it's unattainable if you raise tuition, if you raise property taxes, if the people who you want to come to your college can't afford to come there. And so my big effort in running this race and going to be on the board is to push to increase enrollment, to offer more opportunities to students, bring more students into COD, keep them at COD, and making sure that they graduate or achieve their end outcome, end goal at COD. That ensures more revenue into COD and more opportunities can be provided to students while ensuring that the taxpayer dollar is taken care of and that we don't have to raise taxes or raise tuition. I think having that conversation, just to circle back, needs to happen with the faculty and with the adjuncts. I think COD needs to be representative of the community in which it serves. And that means having qualified candidates come in. I think a student may feel more comfortable being taught by individuals who are from the same background, same race, same culture, and they may be able to relate better with those students. And I think we have that, and I think the issue is we need to communicate that effectively with the community. Again, putting the community back into community college.
We'll now ask Texa to please answer the same question. How would you work to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion across campus?
I'd like to start by continuing this topic of manual labor college. Because of this cost structure, it lowers the cost for families to attend college. And the details you can see at the website, so I'm not going to repeat here. The second approach regarding inclusion is I want to remind people that just because COD is a public access college does not mean it has to sacrifice excellency. I believe an open university, a free college, or almost low-cost college. By the way, I'm not for free college. You can read that on the website. I will address that in the closing statement as well. But a low-cost college can be excellent. For example, City University of New York has produced 14 Nobel Prize winners, and Open University of UK has produced more CEOs than Oxford, Cambridge, or London School of Economics. So I would emphasize that CUD is already a very good school. If we have the right approach, we can improve the performance even further without, hear my word, without increase the cost in taxation base or the student fees. Thank you.
We would now like to have our COD trustee candidates provide a conclusion statement if they would like. Again, Flo Appel could not be here, but she did provide a concluding statement, so I will go ahead and read that for her. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. I'm passionate about higher education and the role that public community colleges like COD play in our communities. The community college mission to welcome and educate everyone is aspirational. It is the responsibility of the Board of Trustees to ensure that college programming and policies serve to advance that mission. The board is also the steward of the taxpayers' contributions to the college. I commit to approving and supporting fiscally responsible programming that is true to COD's mission. I hope I can earn your vote. Please visit donflonick4cod.com for more information on my campaign and those of my running mates. Thank you. We will now ask Daniel, Andrew, and Texa to please come up one at a time. If you don't mind, if you could please restate your name before you give your concluding statement. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Malloy again, running for College of DuPage School Board. My website is malloy4cod.com. And I'd like to thank everybody who's engaged in their local politics. Local politics are extremely important. They set the tone for your taxes and what happens in your community. So go out and vote, not just for COD trustee, but for your library board and your park district board and your mayors and your aldermen and your city council members, because they are extremely important positions in your community. And I listen to a guy who always says, democracy is not a spectator sport. So if we want to keep it, we need to participate in it. And again, on April 6th, please go vote for me. I am the 6th person on the ballot. Malloy for COD. My name is Daniel Malloy. Thank you so much.
Hello, again, my name is Andrew Mano, and I'm running for the College of DuPage Board of Trustees. I want to thank you all for the opportunity in hosting this event, and I want to thank you, the voters, for taking time to become educated about the candidates that you'll be seeing on the ballot. I'm a product of public education. I went to public high school, went to public community college, and went to a public four-year institution. I understand the benefits that public education can provide to students. I left my educational experience with pride and joy and a feel of appreciation for the education that I received. And I understand that students sometimes don't have that when they leave their educational institutions. They don't have that pride for their institution. They don't have that feeling of gratitude, that feeling of accomplishment. But I want to change that. I want to make sure that the students at COD, once they walk out those doors with whatever end outcome they had in mind when they entered, I want them leaving with that sense of pride, with that sense of gratitude, and with that sense of fulfillment that they had a benefit from going to COD. I'm running to ensure that the reforms that the Clean Slate ticket put in place just 6 years ago stay. I'm wanting more transparency, more accountability, and more opportunities for students, and ensure that student success is the #1 priority. And I'm running to put the community back in community college and making sure that all doors are open for that involvement with the community and making sure that we're keeping an eye on those taxpayer dollars. If you want more information, you can go to my website. It's Manno, M-A-N-N-O, the number 4, COD.com. I'm also on Facebook. Again, Andrew Manno, I appreciate all your time, and I hope for your vote and your support on April 6th and during early voting, which is starting now. So I hope everyone goes out and votes Manno for COD. Thank you.
I would close by recognizing my potential bias, because the way I grew up in China, I have witnessed the consequence of socialism. So I'm naturally sensitive to those tendencies, and I might be overreacting. That's why I look forward to the feedback from the community by sending emails to me from my website, okay? ELEMOUNT.org. As far as my background, I have degrees in power engineering and industrial management from Shanghai Jiao Tong University, and a master's degree from Toronto, University of Toronto, also engineering. I practiced both engineering and business in financial, energy, and telecom sectors. And I've also run an NGO, a non-government organization called Element organization, which is the website, in the space of helping talent under distress. Talent are those kids jumping off Golden Bridge while attending Stanford, for example. Those people are the cream of our society. According to my number, less than 0.8% of those population produce more than 51% of human productivity. So it's a huge loss for them to do those things, and I think I understand how to help those people. And that's also another reason I'm running, because there's overlap between COD and Element's mission at this point. And thank you so much.
We'd like to thank our College of DuPage Board of Trustee candidates for being here this evening. That now concludes that section of our forum. We are going to take a few moments now in transition to welcome our York Township candidates. So for those of you following along on our Facebook Live, we are going to take a pause, and we will be back in a few moments. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Villa Park Junior Women's Club Candidates Forum this evening. We are now going to listen and hear from our York Township candidates. There are some various positions, so we will go through that. On the York Township slate, we have a candidate with us this evening for the supervisor position, the highway commissioner position, as well as trustee candidates. There are 8 candidates running for 4 open trustee positions, and we have 2 candidates with us this evening. There are 2 candidates for the supervisor position. We have 1 candidate with us this evening. 2 candidates for the highway commissioner position. We have 1 candidate with us this evening, and 2 candidates for the clerk position, and unfortunately, neither candidate could be with us this evening. We are going to ask each of the candidates to please come up, state your name and the position that you are running for, and give your opening statements. So we will start first with Melissa Gonzalez, who is the supervisor candidate, followed by Martin Dunn, who's the highway commissioner candidate. After that, we'll have Ilsa Mesner, who is running for trustee, as well as Kathy Nash, who is running for trustee. So first, we'll start again with Melissa. If each candidate could please come up, state your name, the position you're running for, and then please introduce yourself and tell us why you are running for a York Township position. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Melissa Gonzalez, and I'm running for York Township Supervisor. One of the most interesting things that people find about me is that I'm a doula and a Lamaze teacher. And a doula is a person who provides professional labor support to women who are having babies. So as such, I would go with women to the hospital and stay with them through their whole labor. That's important because there's a couple of things from there. I'm an entrepreneur and a business owner, and I'm also very well acquainted with working with people during a very, very stressful time. I'm also a Lamaze teacher, and as such, I have learned a lot about how to educate adults and how to work with adults. So I feel like that would be a really important thing to do with the supervisor position, because in order to be an effective educator, I need to know how to work with all kinds of people from all walks of life, and I've been doing that since 2010. More recently, I work part-time at St. Mark's Episcopal Church in Glen Ellen as their communications administrator, and that's hearkening back to my work in New York City. I moved to New York when I was 21 years old after I graduated from college, and I got a job as an administrative assistant at Newsweek International. And over the next several years, I worked my way up to become Director of Creative Services of the Odyssey Channel. So I have several years of big business experience working with budgets and hiring and firing and all of those good business kind of things. Which brings me to today. Why am I running for Township Supervisor? There's a couple of reasons. One is that last summer I got a taste of community organizing. I'm one of the co-founders of a group called Lombard Allies for Racial Justice. We're a group that came together last summer after George Floyd died, and we are all a bunch of suburban moms who felt that we needed to do something to improve our community and to make it more just. And it grew really quickly to about 800 people. And in so doing, we found that one of the ways to achieve justice right here in our own community is to make sure that we have like-minded people in decision-making positions. And that's it for that. I will move on to the next question. Thank you. The next question is, if elected, what is the first thing you would want to change about the current township management? For anyone who has been following our campaign, something that we have been hitting on over and over is that the current York Township website and other communications vehicles are not very transparent. In fact, they're very opaque. It's really difficult to find just about any kind of information about available services or how they're spending their money or any of those kind of things. So as a professional communicator, I want to get our strategies worked out right away. A lot of these things that we need to fix are low-hanging fruit. We figure in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we can make it a lot more useful. My second question is, how would you work to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion across the township? And I think it's really important for us to get in there and do a very thorough review of the programs the township is currently doing. Things that are popular, like the food pantry and senior services. I want us to find out who are using these services. And let's look at the demographics of the people who are using these essential services. Do these demographics look like the demographics of York Township? Interestingly, about 10% of York Township residents were born overseas, and about 20 to 30% speak Spanish in the home. So creating more accessible communications vehicles for all of our people will ensure that the services that the township is supposed to provide, which is number one, general assistance to the indigent, everybody in town knows where that is. If somebody needs help, they know where to go and get that help. Finally, I would like to say about diversity and inclusion, I really want to find out, are we really seeking people out? At the church where I work at, we have a Spanish service at 1 o'clock. And one of the challenges of communicating is that different people in different populations get their news in much different ways. So like at church, we need to reach out through WhatsApp to reach our Spanish-speaking people. So what's going to be the equivalent at Township? I think we're very well qualified to figure that out. In lieu of my closing statement, me and Martin and Ilsa and Kathy are going to come up and talk a little bit more about the structure of York Township and what we have planned as a slate. So, thank you.
Now we will have Martin Dunn, who's running for Highway Commissioner, to give his opening statement. And then also, Martin, I have the questions right here if you need those, or do you have the questions? You're good? All right, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Martin Dunn, and I'm running for York Township's Highway Commissioner. I'd like to start by thanking the Villa Park Junior Women's Club for giving us this opportunity to come and speak to you here tonight. For us as candidates to have the opportunity to come and actually speak to voters, it's very much appreciated, so thank you for having us. I'm a resident of Lombard. It's pretty much right over there. Like, I'm as close to Villa Park as you could possibly come. And I live in Lombard with my wife Tina, who actually works here in Villa Park. Right now, I work up in Schaumburg, but like many of York Township residents, I'm pretty much at a home office right now. I work for an international Fortune 500 company in their contracts, business operations, and order management divisions. I'm a graduate of College of DuPage and a twice graduate of Benedictine University. 4 years ago, I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to join the adjunct faculty at Benedictine, teaching classes about management and labor relations. That also includes managing workplace relationships, which is a very important topic to me and my heart. Last year, I got qualified in Lean Six Sigma. Lean Six Sigma focuses on business prioritization, optimization, and elimination of waste from processes. This is something I look forward to bringing to York Township. In addition to my community involvement, last week I helped out at the Jefferson Middle School, right across the road here, with their food pantry. I've been involved with the Special Olympics when they came through Lombard over the last couple of years. And I'm also president of the Chicago Rugby Referee Society, which covers the entire area, and particularly any of the rugby playing schools in just York Township, particularly Montini, who were state champions a couple of years ago. If I was elected, the first thing I would do is I would actually start partnering with the organizations that are around York Township. Every other township within DuPage County in the past year hosted recycling extravaganzas in partnership with Scarce. Scarce are based right over here at North Avenue and 53. It's entirely about sustainability, and these organizations, which are run in conjunction with CERT, allow for our residents to have much more options than just an e-waste recycling drop-off, which is what the current York Township offers. Next month, Wheaton are going to have their first recycling extravaganza. Addison Township and Glendale are also going to have recycling extravaganzas, and it's even come to the point that Villa Park will be having a recycling extravaganza in May, and I'm sure that Bob Wagner, who you'll be hearing from later on, will be talking more about that, and I'm sure he had a hand in actually organising it too. In terms of promotion of equality, diversion and inclusion, when I teach my classes at College of DuPage and Benedictine, this is one of the topics that we actually cover when we're covering our managing workplace relationships. The first thing that my students always tell me is that they want to look around the workplace and actually see people like them who are actually like-minded and can work together to get the job done. Too often we hear that it's a few people making a lot of decisions for a small group. That just does not sit well with me. So I'm going to take a page out of my student's book right now, and I'm going to say that the best way to promote diversity, inclusion, and equality is to set the example. Set the example of what you expect to see when you're actually out there working. And that is something that I really want to bring to York Township. Thank you.
We will now ask Ilsa Mesner, a trustee candidate for York Township, to please come up and give her opening statement and then answer the same questions. Thank you.
Thank you for everybody watching today and to the Villa Park Junior Women's Club for hosting this event for us. My name is Ilsa Messner and I am running for York Township trustee. I live in Lombard with my husband in the York Center community. It's the former York Center Co-op. This York Center Co-op was founded on the principles of racial and religious equality. This ensured that all its residents could live feeling safe and secure in their own neighborhood, regardless of their racial, religious, or political opinions. York Township has become very diverse, and it is my commitment to ensure that people of all walks of life and every background will feel safe and secure living in York Township. I have an MBA from the University of Chicago, as well as 20 years of experience in the finance industry. I am the York Center Community Treasurer, and as part of my commitment to volunteering, I have volunteered for an IRS-sponsored charity called Ladder Up, doing volunteer income tax assistance. I've volunteered as both a tax preparer and as a member of senior leadership, working with low-income families for the last 15 years. One of the pillars of my campaign has been transparency, and I know you're going to hear this from a few of people on my slate, but it is so important. Currently, the budget and the board meeting notes in York Township are not posted to, or currently they have been posted, but they have not in the past been posted to the website. York was the only township in DuPage not complying with this mandate of posting budget and board meeting information. And when we wanted to get information on this, they actually made us file a FOIA request. Once our campaign started highlighting this fact that this was not available, York Township went ahead and put some limited amount of board meeting information and budgets on the township's website, but it really isn't enough. I'm committed to providing meaningful and insightful budget information, all applicable board meeting notes, and ordinances to the website. One thing that's very important for low-income families is financial education and assistance, such as IRS-sponsored tax assistance programs, federal student aid application assistance, I-10 services, resume review services, and low or no-cost legal assistance. These are vital for low-income families when they hit one snag that they're not able to work their way out of. Most of these programs are free because most of them are volunteer-based. What would I do to promote equality in York Township? One of the things that really stands out to me in York Township, once again, their website is only in English. All of their handouts and flyers, it's single language. It would be very inexpensive and easy to do to just translate the website into a few of the languages that the people of our township speak as our primary language. I don't think we are able to assume that everybody has English as their first language anymore. And the other thing I would do is work with with all of the handouts and flyers as well, just to make sure that things are accessible regardless of your first language. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. My name is Ilsa Messner for York Township Trustee.
Now we'll ask Kathy Nash to please introduce herself and also answer the 2 questions. I will repeat the questions again for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live so you remember what they are. If elected, what is the first thing you would want to change about current township management? And the second question is, how would you work to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion across the township? So now Kathy will introduce herself and then answer those 2 questions. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kathy Nash, running for York Township Trustee. I'd like to start by thanking the Villa Park Junior Women's Club for hosting these candidate forums. They're a really great way to get information about what's on the ballot. I think that's really important. Again, my name is Kathy Nash. I'm running for one of the 4 York Township trustee positions. I moved to Lombard 10 years ago with my husband to raise our 2 young boys. 2 years after moving, I co-founded Prairie Food Co-op, an all-volunteer initiative to open a grocery store that supports local farmers and food producers. For the last 8 years, I have served as board president and project manager of this project. I have been recognized nationally for my leadership skills, organization, and efficiency. Since 2016, I have also volunteered as a Democratic precinct volunteer. And in that capacity, I help educate voters about who is on their ballot and help them make informed choices when they vote. Professionally, I am a senior software engineer with over 20 years of experience working on website design and accessibility, user experience, and designing efficient systems. Last summer, I visited York Township's website to find out more information about financial assistance available to a family member who was dealing with the financial fallout of a devastating cancer diagnosis. We found the York Township website lacking in information about how to receive assistance. At a time when jobless claims in DuPage County were at a 15-year high due to COVID, our township was not clearly communicating how to access critical assistance that we pay for. That does not sit well with me. So I decided to run for York Township trustee because residents facing financial insecurity deserve a township that cares enough to provide information in a clear, meaningful way. If elected, my priorities for York Township include improved communication so that all residents can take advantage of services that they are paying for. Improved transparency, including posting meeting agendas, minutes, and a meaningful budget online, so again, taxpayers can understand how their money is being spent. And to revise the budget priorities so that rather than spending 80% on salaries and office supplies, more money is spent providing service and assistance to our residents. I want to point out that we're running as a slate. Although everybody is not here today, I'm really excited and proud to be working with the slate of Democratic York for Progress candidates. We collaborate very well together, and we all bring different life experience and skills to the table. So, I referenced this in my opening, but what would be my priority if elected? Budget reallocation. I want to prioritize the mission of York Township. The state mandates that York Township provide assistance to indigent residents. When more money is spent on salaries and office supplies, I don't think that that's a good job of meeting the mission. So I would like to see more money being used to provide assistance to our residents who are facing financial crisis. I really love this last question of how the township can promote diversity and inclusion because it's one that's close to my heart. Last summer, I joined LARGE, which Melissa talked about. And in listening to people speak about how we change our communities, many people talked about that we have to change who is elected to positions of power. I took that to heart and I co-founded a nonpartisan organization called DuPage for Progress that has a mission of electing more diversity to positions of power, especially in local government. And I'm really proud of the candidates that we are running and supporting this election cycle. In terms of inclusion, that means that everybody, regardless of ability, should have equal access to resources. One of the main things that people see when they're trying to access resources is they go to the York Township website. And right now, the York Township website is not in 508 compliant. That means that it is not easily navigable or accessible to people with sight issues. They cannot use screen readers to navigate the website. That means they can't use the website. And that's the first thing that they see when they're seeking assistance. Also reference the fact that many of the materials are only available in English. We have many non-English speaking people who also deserved access to services, so that would be a priority. And lastly, I would like to make the meetings available virtually. Unlike most other area government agencies, York Township did not convert to virtual meetings during a national health pandemic. And that left residents with a difficult choice to either attend the meeting in person where they might not feel safe or not be able to access York Township and hear about their meetings and their information. So I would like to, going forward, make sure that we are providing a virtual option for people with mobility issues to attend meetings. Thank you so much.
The four candidates here this evening for the York Township roles have decided, instead of doing individual conclusion statements, that they would like to speak as a group. So we will ask them to come up. I believe conclusion statements were to be about 1 minute long, so we have about 4 minutes for them to go ahead and give a wrap up. So thank you again.
Hello again, and thank you for letting us take this opportunity. Do you want to just kind of gather around up here? So here's part of the team, and I wanted to start by explaining to everyone what the role of the township is, because most people we talk to don't know that they live in a township. So the township is a level of government. It's bigger than a town or a village, and it's smaller than a county. And it has three main responsibilities. One is to assess property, that's the assessor's job. One is to take care of roads and highways in unincorporated areas, that's Martin's job. And the main job, as the others have referred to, is general assistance for the indigent. Township government is meant to be a social safety net that's very accessible and close.
From the perspective of the Highway Commissioner, you need to combine the budgets of 3 other townships in DuPage to come up with the budget that we currently have in York Township. York Township right now has a permanent road fund of $6.1 million. It went from 3.2 to 6.1 in a single year, an 89% increase. I'm running against a 25-year Republican incumbent. Now is the time for change. Now is the time for York for Progress.
So I wanted to address one of the pillars of our campaign, which is stewardship. And when we talk about stewardship, we mean how is being good stewards of taxpayer money. How is the township using taxpayer dollars to provide benefits to residents? We've talked about, in all of our speeches, better transparency to make sure that residents and voters understand how their tax dollars are being used. We would also like to see salary of elected officials posted online. We have FOIA'd for that information. It's very difficult to obtain, and we have not been able to get that information at this point. And Ilsa's going to talk about another sustainability, which is another pillar of our platform.
Okay, I will be brief on sustainability. It is one of our pillars of our platform, and I think it is now a little more than a buzzword. I think we've all realized that sustainability actually will impact the bottom line of the budget quite significantly. In York Township, we have a lot of issues with rainwater runoff at near the township building, but when you look out at the township, you see a lot of turf grass. You don't see a lot of natural, sustainable plants that will, naturally absorb additional rainwaters that run off. You see a building that, we could possibly look into installing solar panels on the top of the building, which, I have on my house, and it's actually reduced my electric bill quite significantly. Another option that is very easily available to the township. And I'm sorry, I know I'm running out of time, so I think sustainability is one of a very important pillar that we have that we would like to include in our slate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and please be sure to vote on or before April 6th.
Thank you, Junior Women's Club.
Thank you for having us.
We'd like to thank our York Township candidates for being here. And now we are going to take another pause. So for those watching on Facebook Live, we will pause for a few moments. We are going to take a break, and then when we come back, we will be welcoming our District 88 school board candidates. So thank you again for everyone for being with us this evening, and we will be back in a few moments. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Villa Park Junior Women's Club Candidates Forum. We are now excited to welcome our District 88 school board candidates to the stage. There are 6 candidates for 3 open positions. We do have 3 candidates with us this evening. 2 candidates could not attend but provided statements. And then some of you who have done early voting, or you might notice on the upcoming ballot that there is a 7th candidate named Tina Harambopoulos. Unfortunately, Tina has had to withdraw from the race as she is moving out of district. So while there will be 7 candidates on the ballot, there actually are only 6 candidates at this time for 3 open positions. We are going to hear this evening from Andrew Edmeyer, Diana Stout, and Jean Taylor. And then I will also read statements from Blanca Jessen and Christine Poyer. So first, we are going to ask Andrew, Diana, and Jean to come up and introduce themselves and tell us why they're running for school board. And then we'll have them come up one at a time. So we just ask when you come up if you could please restate your name. And then after we do your opening statements, we will ask questions that were asked from the community. So Andrew will have you come up, followed by Diana, and then Jean.
Hello. I'm going to tilt this up just a little bit. My name is Andrew Edmeyer. I'm a lifelong resident of Addison, and I currently am on the Addison Citizens Advisory Commission, which has taught me a lot of wonderful things about how the community and community government sort of works. I am a political consultant that has been my profession for 10 years. I graduated from Addison Trail High School, the class of 2011, and there I was involved in tons of things: art, theater, sports, played baseball, golf, swimming, and this is for me an opportunity to give back. I grew up in the Addison community but had ties to the entire district. It was such an awesome place to go to school, and we really were set up for a good sort of foundation into the real world coming out of District 88. And I believe now that I'm of the age where a lot of my friends are sort of moving back or potentially even moving out of the community, my idea is to sort of build that bedrock and keep District 88 as the school district that can attract a thriving community. In terms of the questions, what issues do you believe District 88 needs to address in its academic offerings, and what changes would you recommend, if any? Personally, I think that District 88 offers a great deal of courses. I would say that as somebody who's been involved in arts and music as a passion, I think that basically art and music would be something that I think would be such a huge benefit to the community. So are we, that was the first question. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't understand.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, my name is Diana Stout. I've lived in Lombard, which is in District 88's boundaries, for about 23 years. Actually, 23 years and a couple months. I have 3 children that have gone through both District 45 and District 88. My oldest is in college, second year at UIC, and I have 2 current students at District 88. One's a sophomore, a girl, and then my other son is a senior. My education background is in computer science. I have a Bachelor of Science from North Central and MBA with a concentration and also MIS. So I have been extremely involved in the schools and community for 14 years, starting really with PTA, moving up the natural progression of PTA president, PTO at District 88, both at Music and Athletic Boosters. I can name everything, but I'm not going to do that now. Most recently, until the pandemic started, I was a mentor at Willowbrook High School for a group of young ladies who would come see me during lunch once a week, called the Empower Hour, which was very, very impactful for both of us, I think, to learn about each other. They really did just as much for me as I did for them. I have to say that. It's a very important program. I wish more students would have actually taken advantage of it. So why do I want to be on the school board? For those of you who know me, know I've been on the school board already for 8 years in District 45, which is the feeder school to District 88. I feel that the natural bridge would be for me now to move to District 88 from 45. I feel like my 8 years of experience will give me the opportunity to use what I've learned and the relationships I've made over the years to quickly come in and make positive contributions. That's it. I want to use my relationships to work with the students, the parents, and the community, because that's an important triad to have. So thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jean Taylor. I'm an alumni of Willowbrook High School, and my husband and children are also alumni of the school. My daughter is a senior at the University of Minnesota, and my son is a junior at Carroll University. I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Illinois and a master's degree from Governor State University. I've been involved in the community most of my adult life. I acted as the chairperson for the Villa Park Summerfest Commission, and I have also served on the Villa Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. Through the schools, I've been active in the grade school and middle school PTAs, and at Willowbrook, I served on the Athletic Boosters, the Parent Organization, and the Citizens Advisory Council. I've also volunteered with the Villa Park Warriors Youth Football and Cheer since its inception. During my involvement in the District 88's Building the Future initiative, I noticed many of the folks I was working with no longer had children at Addison Trail or Willowbrook, and yet they still put in the time and effort. They were still committed to improve conditions for the students of the community. I am very grateful to all of them. My children not only benefited from their efforts and dedication, they thrived. I'm at a stage in my life where I've wrapped up other volunteer opportunities. I can commit fully to be an engaged and active school board member. I feel it is my time to give back to the community that's supported my own children and their experience in the district. Thank you.
As we mentioned, Blanca Jessen and Christine Poyer could not be with us this evening, but they did provide statements and answers to the questions, so I will go ahead and read both of their opening statements. This is from Blanca Jessen. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Blanca Jessen. I live in Villa Park. I'm an account executive for a Fortune 500 company. My husband Dennis is a Willowbrook alum. My son Jack and daughter Emma are both recent graduates from Willowbrook. As a parent of 2 Willowbrook students, I have been involved in various school and community events. I have been on the school board since 2015 and was recently recognized by the Illinois Association of School Boards for my devotion to leadership activities and service to the public education community. My passion and what I stand for is to ensure all students get the best possible education, to make sure District 88 has the resource our students need to be successful after graduation. I am different from other candidates because I have no political aspirations. I love my community. I got involved to be the voice for those who needed to be heard, to help those in need. Again, that was the opening statement from Blanca Jessen, who could not be here this evening. The second statement comes from Christine Poyer, who also could not join us this evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Poyer, and I'm running for the District 88 Board of Education. I'm sorry I cannot be with you tonight, but I appreciate the opportunity to share some information about myself and my candidacy. I have lived in District 88 for over 20 years. My daughter Sarah is an alumna of Willowbrook, and my son Michael is currently a senior there. I also have two nieces, Samantha and Gabriella, who are alumni of Addison Trail. I chose to become a candidate for the Board of Education because my family's experience with District 88 has been a very positive one, and I want to work to continue these positive experiences for future generations. As a District 88 parent, I have been active on many school committees, including the Citizens Advisory Council, Parent Transition Reopening Committee, Willowbrook Music Boosters, and Willowbrook Parent Organization. My past involvement outside of District 88 includes memberships on the St. Pius Parish School Board and the Firebird Soccer Club Board. There are three things that differentiate me from the other candidates. The first is my professional background. I have over 15 years of corporate finance and 10 years of human resource experience, and I believe these credentials would serve me well when it comes to the personnel and financial responsibilities that I would encounter as a board member. The second is the passion that I have for public education and maximizing the opportunities made available to all students. It makes no difference whether the students attend Addison Trail or Willowbrook. They are all District 88 students, and I will work equally hard for all of them as a member of the Board of Education. The third is that I do not have any political aspirations outside of District 88. My sole motivation is running for the Board of Education to have the opportunity to put my personal and professional experience, as well as my enthusiasm to work for students and families in this capacity. Again, that was the opening statement of Christine Poyer, who could not be with us this evening. Now we will transition to the questions that came in from the community. The board members will be asked the same questions. Again, we ask when you come up if you could please state your name before answering the question, and you can come one at a time. We'll start with Andrew. The first question again is, as a board member, what issues do you believe District 88 needs to address in its academic offerings, and what changes would you recommend, if any?
Hello again. I apologize because I kind of started answering this question in my intro, but that's okay. Just to reiterate, I think that District 88 really does offer a lot of great programs for students. And I think one of the ways that they are the leaders is with their technology and sort of trade types programs. This is an increasing desire amongst young people to sort of get back into this angle and is becoming much more popular as a way to make a living. I have plenty of friends that harnessed the Addison Trail and the District 88 trades programs and are doing very good. And so I think that that is something to continue to build. I know that Community College, College of DuPage has a very strong relationship with a lot of the schools in this regard, and it's a big focus of theirs. And also, like I said before, the arts programs, I think, should not be left on this aside. I think sometimes they kind of get overlooked in terms of the first thing where budgetary stuff kind of restrains things. I think that that should be reinvested in rather than anything coming out of that. So, thank you.
Hello, this is Diana again. In regards to Willowbrook's academic offerings, one thing has stood out to me over the years is the transition from honors to AP classes the junior and senior year. That's the one thing I'd say personally that I've noticed, and I would like to explore why we have to drop out the honors classes and go strictly AP when we get to the junior and senior level. Primary concern there being that the core level classes are maybe a little easier and the AP classes may scare some of the students, and why do we not keep the honors option? So I would like to explore why that is. That's been a concern of a lot of parents and other people that I've talked to over the years. That said, I do think that the offerings at Willowbrook are pretty diverse and pretty good. I can't say that I've had a hard time with my kids filling their electives or any other courses. I think they do a pretty good job. My kids have been involved in the music program, athletics, many clubs, as well as all of the academic offerings, and they're pretty busy. So I would say what I would like to see is not what I want. I want to know what the parents and the teachers and the students want to see. What are they wanting? Because then you can work with administration to say, is this even possible? Can we get enough students to fill a classroom? The logistics of that. So again, I really think this question is more not about what my kids' experiences as much as what the community, parents, teachers, and students want to see. Then we all work together to see if we can make that happen. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jean Taylor again. I think the district does a good job with its academic offerings. One thing I am excited about is the collaboration the district has started with local colleges like the College of COD and Elmhurst University. Students are able to take classes at Addison Trail and Willowbrook and earn college credit. I would like to see the district expand the classes that are offered in this capacity. With the growth of these type of classes, I foresee a need of the academic advisors to expand their services provided to students. Guidance counselors do a nice job in making sure students are on the right path for graduation. Students may also benefit from a hands-on approach that not only tackles what courses they need to graduate, but how the courses they take will be applied in their post-high school studies or careers. I'm also excited about the community partnerships and mentor programs that have been implemented. I would like to see these programs continue to grow and use the relationships to benefit college-bound students and also assist those students who are headed into the trades or directly into the workforce. Thank you.
As we previously mentioned, Blanca Jessen and Christine Poyer couldn't be with us this evening, but they did provide answers to those questions, which I will now read for them. The question was, as a board member, what issues do you believe District 88 needs to address in its academic offerings, and what changes would you recommend, if any? Blanca's answer. As a current board member, we need to continue to offer a very robust class selection and provide all students with every opportunity to get a great education. Help those students who need additional support and development, but also help encourage them to challenge themselves. Again, the question is, as a board member, what issues do you believe District 88 needs to address in its academic offerings, and what changes would you recommend, if any? Christine Poyer's answer. The most critical academic issue that I believe District 88 and other school districts will need to address is the near-term cost of the prolonged period of remote learning due to COVID-19. Despite the significant improvements made to remote learning since the spring of 2020, increases in the rates of depression and anxiety, as well as setbacks in learning, still occurred among students nationwide. To complicate matters, the achievement gaps tend to vary among districts and even among racial and socioeconomic communities within the same district. Bringing students back to school now that it is safe to do so will help prevent further setbacks. However, school districts, including District 88, will need to also prepare post-pandemic strategies to help students reach their full potential. The first step will be to determine how achievement gaps will be identified and quantified. Once those assessments are complete, the focus can shift to designing opportunities to help students accelerate their learning. These could include summer learning programs, targeted tutoring curriculums, and exposure to grade-appropriate learning with additional tools that students will need to succeed, to name a few. While the rate of infection is decreasing and the availability of vaccines is increasing, some of the hard work remains. If elected to the Board of Education, I'm prepared to do what is necessary to help District 88 face this challenge. Again, that was from Christine Poyer. Now we will ask Andrew, Diana, and Jean the second question. What do you believe is the role of the schools in teaching teens about mental health issues, wellness, sex education, cybersecurity, inclusion, cyber safety, inclusion, diversity, and equity? We will ask Andrew, Diana, and Jean to please come up again one at a time and make sure you introduce yourself again before answering your question. Thank you.
Hello, Andrew Edmeyer again. So the first part of it with mental health, one of the things is as we get students back into school from what we're currently all experiencing with COVID, it is so important that we take even further steps with ensuring that the mental health of our students is there. This has been extremely taxing on everybody, from them to the students, staff, teachers, and members of the community. I recently heard the county coroner say that he's never seen as many young people as he has visit him, which is not what we want to have happen. So this has been tragic on that front as well. So I think really investing in that aspect, and if that means bringing in additional people to have conversations with students, double down on our outreach mentor thing, this is paramount for the continuation of good learning, and it's just going to be one of those ripples that we have to face. In terms of cybersecurity and cyber safety, it's just becoming so much more of a connected world. I mean, when I was in school, we had some forms of social media, but now it's taken on a whole nother level. And working in the professional world, I see instances where people, have opportunities cost of them for stuff that they've done or said or that's online. So teaching good presentation in that regard. And then the final portion, diversity. Personally, I believe that diversity was really the strongest thing that I came out of District 88 with, and it led to such a great view of the world, and it really, really helps. And I think that the diversity in District 88 is probably its strongest thing. Thank you.
Hello, Diana Stout again. Well, this is a pretty close topic to my heart. SEL, most of this can be encompassed in SEL, social emotional learning, with a couple extra things added in. And as we've heard, it's probably more important now than ever. And it's disproportionately affected people in different ethnicities. So you've got your diversity and your equity and your inclusion all included in there. So I would have to say the best approach to this is an integrative approach, meaning I don't think we need to have separate classes or seminars on these things. I think the teachers need to be counseled or professional development, however, it's the best way to be done, to they integrate that in class. They have to take those little opportunities every day to point out these potential growth areas, right? So if they see somebody getting not included for some reason, they need to gently include them. Cybersecurity, that might not be a good thing to do. If they do that within the curriculum that they have, that's where it's going to be most effective. I have not really seen a very robust, effective plan for all of these things in isolation. It has to be done in your everyday, in my opinion. Now, I also think social workers are a very good idea. I don't think any school has enough. I would love to see funding, and I'd rather have more social workers sitting around with nothing to do than a kid come to the office and not have anyone to talk to or anyone to partner with and to be mentored with. So again, to just sum that up, it's got to be integrative. It can't be taken piecemeal. It's most effective when done in a real life setting by the teachers who know the kids, see them the most, and interact with them the most. And also, we need more social workers. So I'd love to see funding for just more social workers and those kind of support personnel in the schools. Thank you.
Hi, it's Jean Taylor again. I will admit, when I read this question, my first thought was, that's an awful lot to cover in a brief time. Ultimately, I decided to just focus on a few topics. District 88 ranks as one of the most diverse districts in the state. However, diversity doesn't automatically bring inclusion and equity. The role of the district should be inclusive in terms of all aspects of education, including academics and extracurriculars. The district should continue its outreach by having a diverse staff and encouraging every student to participate in advanced classes as well as the many clubs and organizations. By focusing on this, equity, making sure every voice is given a chance to be heard should follow. I had a conversation with a parent about why our students are successful. We concluded a large part was that our population feels like a family. Now, families aren't always perfect. However, I do believe that the district will continue the work they have started in equality, inclusion, and equity and keep improving. Thank you.
So Blanca Jessen and Christine Poyer, who couldn't be with us this evening, sent in answers to the question. What do you believe is the role of the schools in teaching teens about mental health issues, wellness, sex education, cyber safety, inclusion, diversity, and equity? Blanca's answer to that question: the topics you mention here are topics that are mandated programs by the state and are added into courses. District 88 implements these courses with its support and PPS teams. These are programs topics that are covered at all school levels statewide. Christine's answer to the same question: although the argument could be made that responsibility lies with the parents, I believe that schools also have a role to play in teaching teens about issues such as mental health, wellness, sex education, cyber safety, inclusion, diversity, and equity. Teens today spend most of their day at school, so it is important for schools to incorporate this topic into the curriculum to ensure that they are being taught and/or to reinforce what students are already being taught at home. Feeling safe, supported, and valued in school will help students to excel academically as well as to form positive social relationships. Empowering students with knowledge and encouraging dialogue on these topics will also give them the confidence to advocate for themselves and to seek help when it is needed. While all of these issues are important, I believe that one of the most critical for District 88 is supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion. As one of the most diverse school districts in the state of Illinois, our schools have a responsibility to ensure that all students and staff are made to feel invited, included, and that their voices are given fair consideration. Blazer Pride and Warrior Code are two excellent examples of how our schools have incorporated these concepts into their cultures. However, District 88 must always endeavor to improve its efforts in these areas when possible. If elected to the Board of Education, I am prepared to work tirelessly to ensure continued focus on these issues. Again, that was the answer by Christine Poyer. We now will ask each of our candidates to please give a conclusion statement. I'm going to go ahead and read Blanca's and Christine's conclusion statement, and then we'll have Andrew, Diana, and Jean come up and give their concluding statements. From Blanca: thank you for your consideration in voting for me. I truly find it rewarding working and support the families of Villa Park and Addison Trail. I strongly believe it takes a village to help take care of one another and to help strengthen and improve our communities. From Christine: in closing, I would like to say that I would consider it an honor and privilege to be elected to fill one of the 3 open positions on the District 88 Board of Education on April 6th. My personal and professional experience make me well qualified for the role, and my many commitments to district and school committees demonstrate that I'm prepared to work hard for students and family. My enthusiasm for this work is second to none, and I have no agendas aside from furthering the district's mission, which is to work for the continuous improvement of student achievement. I would like to thank the Villa Park Junior Women's Club for this opportunity and for all of your kind attention and participation. Good night. We will now ask Andrew, Diana, and Jean to please come back up and give their concluding statements.
Hello, Andrew Abmer again. I just wanted to thank everyone here for putting on such this is interesting. We've never been in kind of a time like this where, we have to sort of do these remote sort of things. So everyone watching, everyone here, thank you very much. The work that goes into this is tough, but it's rewarding. I think this is just such a good way to give back to the community. I really look forward to having the opportunity to earn your vote and, just help bring in that next sort of generation here in these communities and keep this area going and thriving, and our schools are the bedrock of that. Thank you.
All right, hi, Guy. This is Diana Stout. My closing statement is I would be very excited to be elected to District 88 Board. I would love to see Addison Trail and Willowbrook collaborate, work together to move forward in a positive direction. I really do think that I would be able to help do that. And I would like to thank everyone here for making this safe. Thank you. And just a great experience. And so thank you all for your consideration. Good night.
Hi, I'm Jean Taylor again. I would like to thank the Villa Park Junior Women's Club for hosting this forum. I encourage anyone who has further questions for me to reach out. The new board will have tough issues to tackle, like returning to school full-time safely in the fall, dealing with any regression that may have occurred, and the socio-emotional state of students. I would like to be part of that process. I hope residents will consider voting for me on April 6th. I will bring my passion for the community to the board. Thank you all.
We would like to thank our District 88 School Board candidates for being here this evening, and also to Blanca and Christine for sending in their answers to the questions. As a reminder, there are 6 candidates currently for 3 open positions for District 88. We are now going to take a brief pause again as we transition. We will shortly come back with our District 45 School Board candidates. So for all of you watching on Facebook Live, you can take a bio break, pause for a few moments, and we will be back with our next slate of candidates. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Villa Park Junior Women's Club Candidate Forum. Thank you for being with us this evening. Right now, we will talk to our District 45 School Board candidates. There are 8 candidates for 4 open positions. With us this evening are Judy Degnan, Navreet Hennigan, Al Legutke, Kelly May, West Mariner, Catherine Padberg, and Emily Schultz. The 8th candidate, John Naughton, has informed us that even though he's not officially withdrawing from the campaign, he is suspending his campaign. So he is not with us here this evening. So we do have 7 candidates with us this evening. We ask each candidate to please come up. We have an alphabetical order to give an opening statement of 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes. After each candidate gives their opening statement of 2 minutes, we will then ask 2 questions that were sent in from the community. Each of those questions, the candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer, and then in the end, we'll wrap up with a 1-minute closing remark. So we are going to start with Judy Degnan. We ask each candidate that come up to please restate your name when you come to the microphone, both for your opening and closing and each question. So Judy will go ahead and give her opening remarks, and then we will go ahead and have each candidate follow after that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Judy Degnan. I've lived in Villa Park for about 16 years. I have 4 children who all went through the District 45 schools. My 2 oldest are college graduates, and my 3rd is in college right now. My youngest is a sophomore at Willowbrook High School. I graduated from Monmouth College as a music education teacher, and I'm currently a special education teacher assistant at Willowbrook High School. My children were very involved in activities at school, which led me to become very involved in the schools and the community. At Ardmore, I was the PTA president, and I ran many committees, and at Jackson, I ran the book fair for many, many years. I was also president of the District 45 Music Boosters, and right now I'm the treasurer of the Athletic Boosters at Willowbrook High School. I have been involved in lots of community organizations as well. I am an election judge. I was a softball and baseball coach for Villa Park Youth Baseball and a girls soccer coach for the Villa Park Recreation and the Typhoons Travel Soccer Organization. I was also really involved in the Villa Park Warriors football and cheerleading program. I was involved in many District 45 committees as a parent and was also recognized by the Villa Park Education Association as a District 45 key contributor in 2013. And through all those experiences, that's what made me run for the Board of Education 8 years ago. So I'm currently the president of the board, and I have been for 4 years. So my experience is what makes me different from most other candidates. As a board member, I've fostered 8 years of labor stability, which includes helping negotiate 4 separate contracts successfully. I've done this by creating lasting relationships and trust with our staff. During my time on the board, I've also helped to provide one-on-one devices for students, helped establish a consistent curriculum throughout the district, as well as new curriculum in English, language arts, PE, science, and math. I've worked to build collaborative cultures and equitable evidence-based practices throughout the district, but perhaps I'm most excited about is the recent referendum plan, which includes new technology and furniture and classroom refreshes and additions to schools, and it'll help us provide all-day kindergarten and a new early childhood center in the fall of 2022. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Navreet Kaur Hennigan. I would like to first thank Villa Park Junior Women's Club for hosting and allowing us the opportunity to speak here tonight. So I'm a current school board member. I am finishing up my first term, so 4 years, and I'm running for re-election. And I have 3 children who all attended the D45 schools since kindergarten. So they went to Westmore and Jackson. 2 are now at Willowbrook, and my 7th grader is at Jackson. My husband and I will be celebrating our 20th year anniversary at the end of this month, and we've lived in Lombard. Myself and him have lived here for over 13 years together, but he's a Lombard born and raised, and I'm an attorney with my own practice for over 17 years. I started out my involvement in District 45 by volunteering in my oldest kindergarten classroom when she started, and from there I started attending PTA meetings. And we all know what happens when you start attending PTA meetings. I chaired many events, including talent show, book fair, co-running the kitchen at Halloween fair, was treasurer for 4 years, was head room mom for multiple years, and I was also Music Booster president. I was on the principal selection committee when we selected Mr. Gibbous for Westmore School. I was on the building leadership team, invited to be on that, and then also invited to be part of the district leadership team. So my interest in being on the board grew from all of that involvement in the district. I not only enjoyed all of these times, but I also learned about how people in our district work together in many different capacities. I myself am a product of public education and take great pride in the fact that my children are also in public education. I believe in its access for all children. In fact, one of the main reasons my parents brought me here from India when I was 8 months old was because they knew that I would get a high-quality public education here, and they were right.
Hi, I'm Alan Legutke, running as Alan Legutke. Many of you know me as Al. I'm running to become a District 45 school board member because I believe that all kids should have access to a quality public school education. As a university faculty member in a teacher education program, I'm passionate about preparing tomorrow's leaders, and I understand that how important a strong educational foundation is for kids. As a proud graduate of Districts 45 and 88, I'm thankful of how both districts prepared me for college, for 20+ years as an educator, and for life in general. I've been involved in scouting, have held 2 church choir director positions, was an active volunteer with the service learning program during my time as a middle school and a high school teacher. Most recently, I've served as PTA treasurer for the North Elementary School, as Park District soccer coach, community band leader, state research chair for the Illinois Music Education Association, and as member of the board of directors for the North Shore Concert Band. At Benedictine University, where I work, I serve as advisor to the music education program and to our student group, who host monthly student-driven speaker series called Continuing the Conversation. I chair the Capstone Review Committee for the Scholars Program and serve on the Commencement Committee, the Teacher Education Committee, the Stewardship and Sustainability Committee, the Academic Honesty Oversight Committee, and I chair a group in the College of Liberal Arts that hosts a monthly forum called Journeys in Leadership. I would be honored to have an opportunity to give back and serve the students of our community, and it's my sincere hope that I can bring my teaching, education policy, and service experience to the District 45 Board of Education. Thank you.
Hello, I am Kelly May. My name is Kelly May, and I am running for School District 45 School Board. I am a mom to 3 amazing boys. Josh, who is in 2nd grade at Schaefer, turning 8 this Saturday, and Jackson and Jordan, who are almost 3-year-old identical twins. All 3 of my sons were preemies. Josh was my smallest, born 4 months early. Jackson and Jordan were born 2 months early, and all 3 have differing developmental needs. Josh has an IEP through school, and all 3 are in different therapies. I'm a therapy mom, an IEP mom, and also a dog mom too, to Diesel and Sky, who are also twins, by the way. But they're fraternal. Anyway, I have a bachelor's degree in educational studies with a focus in child and family studies from Illinois Wesleyan University, where I graduated in 2005. I met my husband, Sean, later that same year in 2005, and we will be married 13 years in June. I'm homegrown too. I'm a graduate of District 45 and 88 schools. I attended York Center in Jackson, where I graduated in 1997. I then also graduated from Willowbrook in 2001. I worked in childcare for 7 years after graduating college until my husband and I started our own family. My experience in childcare, juggling life and a schedule that includes 3 kids and 2 dogs, as well as my experience with having 3 children with differing developmental needs, I believe it will lend itself well to my ability to foster inclusion, acceptance, and a transparent team approach as a member of the District 45 School Board.
Hi, I'm West Mariner, and I'm running for District 45 School Board. I grew up in Elmhurst and have lived in Lombard for the past 4 years. I'm married and have an almost 3-year-old who will be attending Ardmore as he gets older. I have an early childhood teaching certificate, a master's in special education, and am currently a board-certified behavior analyst working with the autism community. I started my college years getting invested in social justice and environmental justice and have been on that since. In college, I started a curriculum and implemented it called Take Back the Halls. It was a teen dating violence curriculum that we implemented in the Chicago public high schools. I've worked and volunteered for Flint Creek Wildlife Rehabilitation, caring for and releasing injured wildlife, or using them for education if they were not releasable. I think I bring a unique perspective by having a teaching background, as well as being a parent and currently managing an autism clinic. In my current position, I have to navigate the needs of my parents, of my clients, the staff, maintain the business, as well as prioritizing the needs for my client always as a first. I am passionate about this community, and while I don't have the history that some of these other candidates have in this community, I want to make an impact now and ensure that it's a community I want to raise my child in and my family can grow. My name is West Mariner, and I am hoping to get your vote for District 45.
Hello, and thank you for inviting all of us to this forum tonight. My name is Katie Catherine Padberg, and I've lived in Lombard for 26 years. I have 2 daughters that are the proud products of District 45 and 88. They are now 21 and 22 years of age and no longer in my home. I am a teacher by trade. I've been teaching for the last 25 years. I'm in my 25th year of teaching at Sandburg Middle School in Elmhurst. I've taught 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, English, social studies, and guidance. In my role as teacher, I think that is one of the things that I bring to the table as my mini hats, in the sense of I know what goes on firsthand in the classroom. Since schools went to shut down in March, I have taught remotely, I have taught hybrid or live stream, and I will be teaching full on in person as of April 12th. But saying that, one of my proudest things I have to say is being a mom in District 45. My daughters truly benefited from music boosters, from the Tri-Town after-school care, to all the great teachers that they had during their experience in District 45. While I do not have any children currently in 45 because they're grown up, I feel that my experience always being a PTA member from the time I was a student teacher 26 years ago, to PTA secretary, to volunteer soccer coach for the Lombard Park District, brings me a special lens. And all of these candidates are superb, but that's what makes me stand out. Please vote for me for District 45 School Board. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for having me tonight. My name is Emily Schultz, and I'm running to be a District 45 school board member in the upcoming April 6th election. I live in Lombard with my husband and our 3 young children, one of whom attends Ardmore School in District 45, and the other 2 will as well. I am an attorney by trade, but primarily focus my time and energy on supporting our 3rd generation family business in Villa Park, and most importantly, supporting my 3 children. This year, in particular, our community has dealt with unprecedented hardships, which really underscores just how vital our public education system is. For a lot of families, the school is not only a place of education, but it provides necessary wraparound services such as food distribution, access to technology, and other supplies. As a mother of a neurologically divergent child, I have come to learn the importance of local education decision-making. For my own family, our one constant this year has been my son's school and his amazing team of educators and support service providers who went above and beyond this year to make sure that my family still felt supported and connected even though we were in that remote setting. This has given me a passion to serve on the board, to continue to ensure that our school system serves its vital role in our community, but also to help our district navigate the complex issues it faces in the next 4 years, including acknowledging that even though our teachers work tirelessly to provide high-quality remote education gaps have widened for certain segments of our student population. Those students will need to be supported with increased instructional time and access to robust tiered intervention. We also need to ensure that our teachers feel valued, supported, and appreciated. We must identify and eliminate all forms of inequality in education, and we must ensure that our board continues to be proactive in its communications with the public regarding any decisions it makes, including any changes, delays, or increased financial costs of the upcoming referendum build-out. For those reasons, I hope that I will be able to serve District 45 next year as a board member. Thank you so much.
Thank you to our District 45 school board candidates for those introductions. We do have 2 questions from the community this evening that each board candidate will be asked to answer. Please remember you have 1.5 minutes to answer the question. We will start with question 1, and we will go in alphabetical order again. So if each person could come up, if they could please restate your name so that the people watching live and then the people watching on the replay later will be able to put a face with a name. The first question is, if elected, In what new way would you like to promote and support the District 45 vision of preparing students to successfully navigate a dynamic world?
Hi, I'm Judy Degnan. One of the things that really interests me is the idea of a community school, a school that partners with community resources to provide support not only to their students and families, but to the community as a whole. A school that invites the community families and helps offer different services like health and social services or youth development, and is a place for community engagement. This would lead to improved student learning, stronger families, and healthy communities. In a way, helping kids successfully navigate that dynamic world. It would be a school where personalized learning is taking place and where curriculum is enhanced to provide real-world learning and problem solving. Right now, our district works with our Tri-Y, NAMI, Forward DuPage, Lombard and Villa Park Rotary Clubs, as well as many other organizations that are all excellent resources for our community. They help provide our families with the services they need. And in District 45, we just hired a community outreach specialist who's working with those organizations, as well as our school social workers, to help find many other resources and organizations to provide services to our families. We're participating in community engagement activities, such as the Nourished and Healthy Food Drive with the Tri-Town Y, and we're networking with other districts to see what they do and apply it to our district. So our district is just taking its first step in a long journey to help provide more services and opportunities to our families. Thank you.
Hello again, I'm Navreet Gaur-Hennigan. So I find that the new way presents itself if I can be present to what's happening. So that means that I listen carefully to what's happening around me and keep my finger on that pulse. I educate myself on current issues in the climate around us, especially when it comes to education. So I do that by seeing in articles I might read or podcasts I might listen to, how can this apply to our district and our education. I ask good questions when it's time to ask good questions, and then I also engage in discussion no matter how difficult I think that might be. Then we have to keep asking ourselves what success looks like for our students. So I think that success looks like resilience, that they feel supported and seen and welcome no matter their background, that they feel empowered and that we help them get there. And they have the ability to adapt to that change. That's that dynamic part. What the world is always changing, and we need to make sure they're ready for it. So to that end, I would like to make sure that we support the curriculum that builds our kids that way. We grow in our capacity to work with that wide range of community partners that Judy was talking about, that we respond appropriately by encouraging change in policy and procedure when necessary, when we find that that's what's necessary, and that then we make sure that everybody has exactly what they need to do their best. Of course, we need to then communicate all of this out effectively so that we can work together district-wide.
Hello again, I'm Al Legutke. And I think that when we talk about navigating a dynamic world, it's important for stakeholders to define exactly what that means. So navigating to me means determining a destination or goal, and then using information and tools to plan a route. Navigation also requires a person to be adaptable to change. Just like a street closure might reroute our GPS when we're driving somewhere. That's the dynamic part of the world, a world that's constantly changing. Of course, part of navigating a dynamic world is learning facts and skills. I spend a good part of my day dealing with, as a teacher, with facts and skills, and in my daily life with facts and skills. But the map isn't enough to get from point A to point B. You have to be able to learn about new environments and adjust your heading as needed. That means learning about being responsible members of a community, including things like listening, capacity for empathy, respecting one another, curiosity, questioning, exploration, wondering. Those are the things that allow people to navigate a changing world. My hope is that students graduating from District 45 in 2021 will have those kinds of curiosities and navigation skills so they can thrive 80 years from now, even if the world looks completely different than it does now. Thank you.
I am Kelly May again. I would love to find a way to foster the continuation of giving families the opportunity to choose either in-person learning or to remain remote as an ongoing option in the future. I also realize that families choosing the remote option in the future will have different social and emotional needs than families who choose in-person learning. This is something that I have seen addressed this year for my own family and recognize the need for that support from the schools and the district to continue in conjunction with the full remote option being offered ongoing as well. I believe that this past year has shown us that we have the technology and the ability to remain flexible in the ways that we teach and learn, and that doing those things in different ways creates the ability for our children to meet that district mission of preparing our students to successfully navigate a dynamic world.
Hi, I'm West Mariner. One of the ways I would like to promote District 45's vision of preparing students is introducing and hopefully implementing more outdoor learning. Outdoor learning is basically how it sounds. It's using the outdoors and nature as a setting for the classroom. It is relatively cost-effective, easy to implement, and has a variety of benefits. Some of these benefits include boost in academic achievements. This is increased problem solving in students, increased independence and confidence, improved health, including physical health, mental and emotional, something that I think should be hyper-focused on this after this year. It connects students to nature, which helps create a more sustainable and healthier community overall. It increases connections between peers and increased focus and aids in lowering problem behaviors that are often seen in the classroom, especially for students who have higher needs with attention disorders. Outdoor learning is hands-on and has benefits that promote D45's vision. Again, I think it is easy to implement, and there are so many benefits that it is something I hope to implement in the district.
Hello, I am Katie Catherine Padberg, and instead of perchance looking to the future, I want to look back to the past. By that I mean, what were the good things that came out of the pandemic, and specifically in District 45? One of the things that was touched on by some of my colleagues here running was the fact that the community truly stood up between the parents, the kids, and the teachers. One of the specific things I want to hone in on, because I was part of it as a volunteer, the Tri-Town food distribution. That was one of the things that I saw as a community member, and as I got more involved, that we really stepped up to the plate and delivered. For a child to be healthy, they also have to be fed. And that was one of the key things that I think was very important coming out of the pandemic, that we did really well. I want to continue and touching on what Judy said in terms of being a community school. What are the partnerships and the ties that we can make within our community? The second thing I would say we did really well as a district, and I shouldn't say we, they did really well, and that was remote learning. Touching on what Kelly brought up, I'm going to say the teachers, the faculty, the parents, and the kids truly stepped up to the plate. What are the things that we can learn from them that worked and incorporate when the kids are in person or otherwise, and use those things that we learned during the hard times? Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I'm Emily Schultz. Preparing our students to successfully navigate a dynamic world includes understanding the benefits but also the limits of technology. This year has shown us that technology can promote connection and can also be an effective tool in increasing our students' critical thinking, but it cannot replace the incredible relationship that our District 45 educators have with our students. Moving forward, our students need to be well-versed in technology use, and technology should be used as an effective tool when it serves the students' needs, but it should not dictate our students' educational experience. There needs to be a balance between technology and also one-to-one learning, especially for our younger students. We must also strive to broaden the cultural worldview of our students so that they are prepared to live in an increasingly integrated world. We must ensure that our students are able to investigate the world and communicate effectively with diverse audiences. Our district is wonderfully diverse, and our students' background, culture, and personal knowledge should be celebrated and welcomed as an important piece of our overall student population's educational experience. We need to focus on our students becoming great listeners and collaborators, and it should encourage our students to learn from one another. I would also like to see an increased emphasis on learning a foreign language similar to District 44's dual language programs to prepare our students to become better global citizens. Thank you.
Now we'd like to ask the candidates the second question that came in from the community. And again, when you come up, if you could please restate your name, and then you have approximately a minute and a half to answer your question. How would you work to promote equity, diversity, and inclusion in each of the schools and between schools in the district?
Hi again, I'm Judy Degnan. Gotta get my glasses. Our district is currently working to address equity in our schools, and we use equity as the lens in which we make all of our decisions. Back in the spring, we were one of the first districts to make a statement about the brutality that was taking place in our nation at that time. Our board has been doing book studies for about 2 years, and they revolve around equity in our schools. Our new curriculums encompass equitable teaching practices for our students. We use a tiered system of interventions to meet students where they are and help challenge them to do better. I've always been of the opinion that each of our 8 schools are very different in what they need, and that they shouldn't be given resources equally, but equitably based on what those needs are. Because each of our schools are so unique, each school needs to be given their own personalized support so that students have an equal opportunity. I want to hire a district equity consultant to help lead our entire district in the direction we need to go, provide professional development for our teachers to close the education gap, and continue to promote and be an ally for all students in the district so that we can continue to give them the best education possible and make sure they're ready for high school. Thank you.
Hi, Navreet Kaur Hennigan. So I would like to point out first all of the good things that are happening in our buildings. I guess not all of them, some of them, because there wouldn't be enough time. But our professional development, I know that our teachers do have some professional development towards equity, diversity, and inclusion already. The Social Justice League over at Schaefer just wrapped up its first year, and the children there talked about disabilities. Our cultural events that are hosted by our families in some of our buildings, our book discussions where the community was also invited to read along while the board read along and discussed. And then at the end of the day, we always ask ourselves, what does each child need? And we try to fill that. So to that end, I would like to see that an audit is performed of our district and see what's happening in our buildings and across the district. So we are trying to hire that consultant that will help us do that. I would continue to encourage the conversations that are happening not only at the board level, but I hear in the buildings as well, and encourage that work that's being done. So we encourage the district and the buildings as a board by showing up to events and participating in the activities, and then we can see what's happening. I would also like to make sure that our commitment towards a more diverse teaching staff is supported, and I would love for our district to eventually move towards having a staff member who's specifically tasked with increasing our efforts towards diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Hello, Alan Legutke again. Regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion, I feel that it's critical to define diversity broadly to include race, gender, ability, identity characteristics, socioeconomic status, and cultural identity, whether those identities are overt or hidden. Diversity is what makes us unique and important as human beings, and all students and staff should be equal members of the school community that honor and respect the individuality of one another. I think that our school district already has a lot of wheels in motion towards this goal, as you've heard. To the question of how I would work to build and promote equity, diversity, and inclusion, I would focus on 3 areas or categories of the district's function. That's the mindsets, practices, and environments. Mindsets referring to conscious beliefs, attitudes, and cultural competencies. Practices referring to things like curricular resources, grading, and types of assessment. And environments referring to classroom resources, hiring practices, types of relationships formed between families and the school, which is the same school community, access to technology, and making sure each student is valued, included, and empowered. To pull it all back together, I feel that schools need to address both the explicit and implicit aspects of equality, diversity, and inclusion, and we can do that by looking to the operations through a thoughtful lens at the district's mindsets, practices, and environments. Thank you.
I am Kelly May again. Sorry, now I just have to scroll back. Oh, thank you. I'm still Kelly May, with or without the mask. And I'm scrolling and yeah, okay. I believe that our district is an amazing mix of many cultures and many people from different walks of life and different backgrounds. I know that many in our community do not feel seen and heard, and that needs to be continually addressed. I can see that we are doing good things to promote awareness, acceptance, accessibility, and inclusion. I see this at Schaefer in the new Social Justice League, which was formed by 2 of our teachers because we could not have our annual multicultural fair last spring. One of the teachers, the music teacher, I don't know if I can say her name, who helped create this club, stated in an article that, quote, "Our hope with the Schaefer Social Justice League is to attempt to shift away from the performative activism, and inspire our students to create change within their communities," end quote. Promoting parent, student, and community involvement and awareness, as well as a continued effort toward open and honest communication and accessibility between all of the facets of our school system, I believe is key in promoting positive change in the ways we're all looking to create. This in turn will create a more involved community and therefore lend itself to equity overall between the different schools and parts of our community as a whole. Allowing people to feel that members of the school board, administration, and individual schools are all available, are all listening, and that they all care would be one way I would suggest to foster this, possibly by having a town hall type meetings, such as Dr. Palmisano has done in the past.
West Mariner. I would like to address equity, diversity, and inclusion in the district through some major changes as well as super small, easy changes. Starting with seeking out more diverse staff that matches the community and the student body. We have roughly 35% Latino or Hispanic students 8% black and 43% white. However, about 90% of our staff is white. Talking to the current staff that does represent the students, what are their positive parts of working for the district, and how can we use that to incentivize to get more top talent as part of our staff? Additionally, what are the barriers they face, and how can we address these to encourage more people of color to seek jobs in the district? While the district currently has an equity statement, something as simple as it not showing up on individual school sites could be changed to show that the district stands behind that statement at each individual school level. Additionally, Schaefer does have a culture committee that they just formed. How can we replicate this in all the schools? Additionally, having cross-school projects within these to ensure that that is moving across the district throughout the schools. Small changes, such as having diverse books available, something me and my own spouse are constantly looking for my own child, and it's not as easy as it seems to find children of color as the topic of the books. Things such as empathy exercises and normalizing conversations about race, sexuality, gender identity, etc., and allowing staff and students to take part of these conversations. Lastly, the current equity statement doesn't include all things such as ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, and abilities. Simple changes in language would make the staff and the students feel more welcome within the community. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Katie Catherine Padberg. The way I'd like to look and address this issue, ties back to what happened this summer. This summer, as one of the one of the early members of LARGE, the Lombard Alliance for Racial Justice, the wing that was formed with the educators, I attended several different meetings with different teachers, assistants, and classroom aides. We looked at 3 different things that have been touched on tonight. One was curriculum and adopting and looking at a diverse curriculum. One was hiring practices, and the last one was a community involvement. Those are the 3 things that I think are really key that some of my colleagues have honed in on. As a teacher, I know personally myself, as a social studies teacher and as an English teacher, I've always strived to try to include the stories of everyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, or identification. I think that is something that needs to be discussed and talked about as we're looking to adopt new curriculum. One of the things we realized in our group of educators when we met was that though we lived in Lombard and Villa Park, we had no teachers with us, and we strove to get that. The other thing that I would say is the hiring practices. Kids look to their teachers as role models. They want to see someone that looks like them and has their past experiences. Those would be the kind of things that I think would make 45 a more truly diverse district. Thank you.
Hello, Emily Schultz again. This year, COVID has highlighted the deep inequality that exists in our education system. I said this at a previous forum about equity, but it bears repeating. I was listening to Senator Au speaking about the recent increase in hate crimes against the Asian Americans in our community, and she stated that the key to social change is participation, especially voices that have not always been heard. This statement really resonated with me and illustrates that in order for our district to successfully promote equity, diversity, and inclusion, we must be active in attracting and also retaining diverse teachers in leadership so that we are ensuring that all voices in our community are being heard. As Wes noted, teacher diversity has not kept pace with the changes in our student population. This is a huge issue because study after study has shown that representation matters heavily in gauging the success of our students of color. So increasing diversity needs to be a top priority for the board. Additionally, we must create a norm that encourages people of color to contribute to our decision-making process. We must ensure that as a board, we are reaching out and elevating diverse voices in our community. A lot of parents, I know myself included, are overloaded with information and not able to be actively engaged in the decisions that the board makes. So I plan on being proactive in my communications with all members of our community. Diversity, equity, and inclusion also must be a continuous dialogue, and we must frequently examine our current culture and policies to actively gauge where we succeed, but also where we fail in creating an anti-racist environment. Thank you.
Now that we've heard our District 45 school board candidates' answers to those two questions, we will invite them back up again now to give their concluding remarks. Everyone will have approximately 1 minute, and we will go one at a time. Please then again say your name for the final time before you give your remarks. Thank you.
You are. Hi, I'm Judy Degnan. I know this has been a hard year for everyone in our community in many different ways, and many of the students have suffered by not being actually in the classroom for learning. And some have actually enjoyed remote learning as well. My goal for the fall is to have all students back in the classroom that feel comfortable doing so. But I do think the state will mandate schools to continue to provide a remote option. So I'd like our district to focus on a more robust remote learning plan for the students that need to be home and that will differentiate for individual learning styles. I also would like to focus on making sure our referendum work stays on track and is completed in time to have full-day kindergarten in the fall of 2022. And I'd like help our district continue to move forward with our equity plan by continuing to promote professional development for our staff, hiring diverse faculty, and promoting the well-being and best education possible for all of our students. And I'd just like to thank everyone for supporting me, and thanks to the Women's Club for having this tonight. Thank you.
Hi again, Navreet Kaur Hennigan. I look back on my time with District 45 as some of the most enjoyable and important time in my life. I really love serving on the board and would welcome the opportunity to do so again. There's much work that's been started in the last 4 years, but it hasn't only started in the last 4 years, and I would love to see it through and to watch it grow and to be part of that. I'm committed to our district and value our kids, our families, our teachers, our staff, and I get excited and proud when our people and our work shine. I'll be honored to support the continued growth of our district into a community partner itself as well, and really hope to do that as a school board member for District 45 for another term. Thank you.
Thanks. For the fourth time, I'm Alan Legutke. First and foremost, I want to thank the Junior Women's Club for hosting the forum. I know that there are a lot of moving parts, and it's not always easy to get those parts moving all at the same time, so I appreciate that. Thanks also to the other candidates. I've learned that you're all pretty cool, smart people, so who care about education, and I feel strongly that that civic participation and civic engagement builds community, and I'm extremely grateful to be a part of that community. Our teachers are true professionals. Our schools are special places, and I'd like to be a part of building on that foundation and making sure that our schools are a place that where all kids can find their voice and be successful. I promise to listen to my neighbors, to seek opportunities to celebrate diversity, to work towards equity in education, and to make sure that every family, from the time that they walk through the door for the first time to the time as their lives as D45 alumni, feel heard, respected, and valued. Thank you.
I am Kelly May, the fourth time. I also agree that these are some pretty cool people up here. So my final thoughts are, and thank you to the Junior Women's Club too. everything Al said. My final thoughts are that I am just one mom in the trenches with all of the other parents in this district and in this community. I'm right here in the thick of it with everyone else, and I believe that I truly understand the struggles of my neighbors and friends because I am living it along with them on a daily basis. I believe that I am truly representative of the families in the community, and I hope to serve as a board member for District 45, my lifelong district, the district where we chose to raise our children, and the place that I have always been proud to call my home.
Hi, I'm West Mariner again. I want to thank everyone who helped put this together. I believe schools are the pillar of the community. I want those to be a space where all staff and students feel safe and respected. I think the current board is doing great work, and I want to bring new ideas while I continue to push their current agendas. My strongest memories as a child were playing outdoors till it was dark. I collected bugs, was climbing trees, looking at tracks in the snow, and during these times I gained independence as I ventured further on my bike, or was drawn to discovery by natural curiosity while I would watch bugs crawl across the sticks for minutes on end. I became passionate about the outdoors and about learning more. I hope to bring this same passion to the district board. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Catherine Padberg. My closing is this. I'm running for school board not because of discontent with the current school board. In fact, they've done a tremendous job in these times of hardship. I'm running for board because I'm at a point in my life when I realize I have a lot to give to the community in terms of my background, my experience, and my passion for learning. I guess in teaching too. In any case, I think that we need to look forward, and I'm grateful for the Women's Club for not focusing on one issue. But I think it's important as we look to the future, and I want to hit the ground running if you elect me, because I think it's time to help support the kids, the parents, the teachers, the administrators, socially, emotionally, in terms of their health, and also in terms of their academics. I would love to start the dialogue about summer education and continuing forward. Thank you very much.
I'm Emily Schultz. I know that this has been a tough year for a lot of us. There's been a lot of loss and a lot of division in our community, but I want to end on a positive note and say that we are truly lucky in that we have such amazing staff and educators in our district. I heard a quote the other day that said that educators' working conditions are our students' learning conditions. So we must continue to support and prioritize our educators' sense of safety, well-being, and community, because our educators really are the heart of our education system. I know that we will face some challenges in the next couple of years, but if we support our students and our teachers, both academically and emotionally, we will be able to bounce back stronger than ever. I would also like to say that I am grateful that we have such qualified candidates for the board, and I would like to thank Judy, Navreet, and the rest of the current board for all of their hard work this year. I'm a mama bear at heart, and I want what's best not only for my kids, but all of the kids in our district. So please make sure that you go out and vote. Municipal elections are so important and have such a huge impact on our community. So thank you so much for having me, and don't forget to vote. Thank you.
That concludes the District 45 School Board portion of our candidates forum. We would like to thank the candidates again for being here this evening. We are going to take a quick break, a very quick break. To anyone who's on our Facebook Live, thanks for hanging in there with us this evening. I know we are a little bit behind. We are going to transition now as the school board candidates leave. We are going to bring in our Villa Park Village trustee candidates. And then after that, we will have the two presidents running for Villa Park president. So thank you again to the school board candidates, and we are going to take a brief pause. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Villa Park Junior Women's Club Candidates Forum. Thank you for those of you who are hanging in with us this evening on Facebook Live. We are now to the part of the forum where we will be hearing from our Villa Park Village trustee candidates. As in our other candidates this evening, we will go in alphabetical order. Everyone will have 2 minutes to introduce him or herself. Then after everyone introduces themselves, we will go into the questions from the community. We have 2 questions this evening. Each person will have 1.5 minutes to answer the first question, then 1.5 minutes for the second question, and we will end with concluding statements of 1 minute from each candidate. There are 6 candidates for village trustee, and there are 3 open positions. The candidates are Mark Bregman, Matthew D'Alessandro, Jack Corkery, Jack Kozar, Deepa Kumar, and Cheryl Tucker. We will start this evening by asking Mark Bregman to come up and give his opening statement, and then we again will go in alphabetical order where each candidate will come up. They have 2 minutes to tell us a little bit about herself or himself. Thank you.
I'm Mark Bregman, running for trustee. I spent the last 29 years as a Villa Park police officer. I retired with the rank of lieutenant. During my time with the police department, I spent a lot of time working with the middle schools, the elementary schools, both District 45, District 48. I spent a lot of time working with the parent associations, Neighborhood Watch, Citizens Police Academy, the Citizens Emergency Response Team. I did some grant writing. I also worked under 5 different police chiefs, 4 different village managers. I worked very closely with previous boards, and running for trustee seems to be the next natural step for me in terms of serving the village of Villa Park. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Jack Corkery. I'm running for Villa Park trustee. I'm a lifelong resident of Villa Park. I'm 23 years old, so I've been a resident for 23 years. I went to St. Alexander, was a part of Boy Scout Troop 199, graduated Willowbrook High School in 2015. Was very involved in the theater department there, so if you've seen some of the plays there and my face looks familiar, that's why. My family first moved to Villa Park in 1951. We've been living in the same house ever since, and this town's been good to us for a long time. And part of the reason I'm running is because I want to be a responsible steward for Villa Park, make sure that the things that are good about it keep on and stay on into the future. So one of the things I'd really like to emphasize with my campaign is transparency. When I go out and talk to people on the campaign trail, a lot of people emphasize that they feel that their voices aren't always heard at the village level, that their feedback isn't always received, that they don't feel like it is, and that it's sometimes hard to keep up with ongoing projects, what's going on in the village, what the government's up to. And so I'd like to change that by interfacing directly with residents, talking to people, and working to bring people into the government more. I think that the relationship between resident and government goes both ways, and I'd like to reach out, bring more people into village meetings, commissions, and really get people involved with the running of their town for the benefit of everyone who lives here. It's an interesting time to be in the suburbs. As you've seen with our neighbors, there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of potential for growth, a lot of people coming in, a lot of new businesses coming in. And I think that's great. But I want to make sure that we grow here in Villa Park in a way that's responsible, that benefits the people that live here, and that preserves what's so great about our town for years and years to come. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Matthew D'Alessandro, and I'm running for village trustee as well. First off, I'd like to thank the Villa Park Juniors Women's Club for putting this together. I think this is a great opportunity to get to know the candidates, so I thank you guys again for putting this together. I'm a lifelong 24-year resident of Villa Park. I was a member of the Villa Park Mariners swim team for 5 years, spent 2 years in Villa Park Youth Baseball, 1 year in Villa Park Youth Football. And I got my career started at the Villa Park Pools. Spent 5 years as a lifeguard. 1 year as an assistant manager, and then my final year I was the head manager of Lufkin Pool in its final year in the summer of 2017. As I went off to college, I went to Valparaiso University and obtained my Bachelor's of Science in Meteorology. But as I was there, I grew a deeper appreciation for my home here in Villa Park, and wanted to come back home, not only to make up for lost time with my family and friends, but also to make up for lost time with the village. And I really have a deep sense of appreciation for this village and feel responsibility to give back for all the things that Villa Park has given me. And that is why I have chosen to run for village trustee. Roll up my sleeves and get to work and make this the village reach the full potential we all know it can. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Jack Kozar, and my wife and I own the property at 324 East Central, which is known as Fuel, Creme, and a Movable Feast. We started this property a few years ago. I took an old abandoned gas station and made it into what it's becoming today. I did that because I believe in Villa Park. I believe in Villa Park's future and where it's going. And I've invested my time, my money, and my future into what we can become in Villa Park. But in the process of doing that, I've realized how difficult it can be for a small business in Villa Park to prosper, how difficult some of the ordinances and some of the procedures in Villa Park are. So as a trustee, I want to make some of those changes, but also I want to preserve what's important in Villa Park and what works in Villa Park and what we love so much about Villa Park, our community, our sense of pride, the things that make Villa Park as beautiful as they are with our two paths, the Prairie Path going down Villa Park. So it's a balance between protecting what makes Villa Park the town that we all love and changing those things that need to change so that we can improve our reputation for business and investment and bring in new people into our town. That's why I want to run for trustee, and that's what I'm going to bring to the village. Thank you.
I'm Deepasriya Kumar, and I'd like to thank the Junior Women's Club for giving us this opportunity to speak. I'm a 35-year resident who grew up on North Ardmore and lives on South Harrison Street. I went to District 45, and I was valedictorian of Willowbrook. Villa Park is home to me. I am currently a Northwestern University professor, and I am a management strategist. I have my PhD in management strategy from Kellogg Business School and my master's in statistics from University of Chicago. I was acting FTC treasurer and assistant treasurer in District 48 for over 6 years. I was instrumental in passing the referendum to repair Salt Creek schools. I've been an active board member on the Chicago Tyagaraja Utsavam, which is a musical organization of international repute. I have been a Sunday school teacher for over 15 years, teaching cooking to kids at the Sunday school. I believe that Villa Park needs some long-term planning with clear-cut timelines and metrics to achieve its ultimate potential. I'm different from other candidates in that I am an educator with a deep-rooted background in business. I'm the only candidate here with a school-age child. I am the only diverse candidate running for this board. These qualities make me an ideal candidate to represent Villa Park citizens. Villa Park has too often been short-sighted in its implementation of projects and decisions. Currently, there are insufficient parks and recreational services, and you can't get me started about issues with communication and technology in town. I aim to open these doors. Villa Park has done a lot for me. I bought my first bike in Villa Park. I got my first job at the Kmart in Villa Park, my first scholarship, bought my first house. I'm bringing up my 2 children in Villa Park, and I hope with your vote that I will have my first meaningful position in Villa Park as Villa Park trustee.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Tucker. I'm the incumbent. I understand Villa Park's diverseness. I was born and raised in this town. I attended Ardmore. I went to Jackson Junior High when it was a junior high. I went to Willowbrook. I remember Al's Smoke Shop, Catherine's Bakery. I am very solid in this village because my heart is in it, and I'm probably going to be choked up here, so you'll have to excuse me if I do this. Harvey Dance Duty, the smell of the Ovaltine plant, the local drugstores. These are things that have long gone, and with them, the new Villa Park development, with every changing business and community event, like the concerts in the park. I still feel it's very important to be supportive of the local organizations in Villa Park, the Lions Club, the Kiwanis, the VFW, the Knights of Columbus, the Junior Women's League. Thank you for doing this for us, by the way. To be a supporter, I'm also a supporter at the high school for the students of Willowbrook and around the USA. I served on the Park and Rec Advertising Committee. I helped develop the master plan, which I'm hoping to be put in effect soon as we work along. I'm presently the board liaison for the board and for the Park and Rec Commission. As a member of an advocate, I also got 1% future funding for the Recreation Center and the pool, serving on Salt Creek Golf Course. I'm continue to be an independent voice that listens to the quiet people of Villa Park that don't want trouble anyone or make a big difference. As that, I will continue to listen to them and help them say, and listen to the people of Villa Park who are the voice. I respect the people of Villa Park and don't make promises I can't back up, because the people are the soul of Villa Park.
Thank you to the candidates for village trustee for introducing themselves. Now we would like to ask them the two questions that came in from our community. We will start with question 1. We will go in alphabetical order again. Please remember that you have a minute and a half to answer the question, and then when you come up to the podium, if you could please restate your name so those who are watching on Facebook Live and those who watch later on the village's YouTube channel will be able to put a face with a name. The first question is, what current ordinances would you like to see changed, eliminated, or updated, and why? And if you don't think anything should be changed, please explain why not.
Mark Bregman again. I took a look at our village ordinances and noticed that they are lengthy. The table of contents alone are over 70 pages. So the actual ordinances themselves, you're looking at thousands of pages. And as far as I know, nobody has ever gone back and taken a real close look and reviewed all these ordinances to determine what we need and what we don't need. My thought is, it needs to start. You got to start at page 1 and start going through these things. Some of the ordinances are older than I am and simply don't apply anymore. Some of the ordinances are only enforced when it's convenient to enforce them. The latest one that I've discovered is we have an ordinance that pretty much requires a permit for storage containers. Well, anyone who's ever been into the commercial and industrial areas of Villa Park will recognize there are storage containers everywhere. None of them are permitted, and many have been there for many, many years. Nobody seemed to have a concern with them. Suddenly it became a real big deal. The point is, we need to really go through and determine what we need, what we don't need, and as a municipality, not be afraid to throw out ordinances that we simply don't use anymore. Thank you.
Jack Corkery here. So it's no secret that here in Villa Park, a lot of our ordinances are a bit outdated. perhaps stuck in a more 20th century idea of what it means to be a suburb, and they don't really serve us or the people who live here anymore. So there's a lot that needs to be changed, but the ones I'd like to focus most on are the ones that enforce punitive fines and fees on the residents of Villa Park. It's no secret that the economy is not doing especially well right now. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, lots of people here in town are out of work. Lots of people here in town are underemployed. Maybe they're losing business. And the way forward, the way to ensure the health of our town is not to put fines and fees on people that doesn't help them address the problems that they have. For things like, say, home maintenance or automobile maintenance. I'd like to see the village, instead of fining people, do more to reach out and work with people in order to address the problem directly in a way that doesn't punish people for things they have no control over. In the same vein, I think we also need to take a long, hard look at our permitting system. I've heard from many people talking, just out talking to people, and I've experienced myself that it can be very cumbersome, that the permits can be expensive, and that the process can take a long time to process the permits. And so I'd like to look at expediting that and simplifying that and making it easier to do construction work here in town. Because the point of a permitting system is to ensure safety, not to discourage people from making improvements to their home or business. It doesn't serve us if that's what it's doing. And I'd like to work towards a permitting system that works towards the people of Villa Park and makes it easy and safe to make improvements in our town. Thank you.
Matthew D'Alessandro. I too just took a look at our village ordinances, and like Mark, I thought it was very long. And I chose to look at a couple sections that stuck out to me and my goals. So one of my big goals is transparency, specifically with village construction projects. I feel like it's very hard to find any information on village construction projects, where things are going. I know that there's a projects updates page, but sometimes it's not updated, and a lot of people don't know about that. And I feel like, you know, we spend a lot of money for village updates and projects, specifically our road construction projects. So one of the ordinances that I looked at fell under Chapter 2, Article 5, Section 2502. Which is the village manager's roles and responsibilities, and I would like to amend that with the village manager issuing a monthly update on all projects to the village board, which then will be conveyed to the residents to keep everybody informed on where we're at with projects and what next steps we're taking, and to be fully transparent about that. Thank you very much.
Jack Kozar. So in building the property that we have at 324 East Central, I've had to seek 7 different variances. I've also had to seek a variance for the fence that I have at my own home. We have issues with our ordinances, from fencing to outdoor entertainment to signage to shipping containers, which were mentioned. And I think shipping containers is a good illustration of what we need to work on in our village. We were the first business in the history of Villa Park to have a legal shipping container and actually get a permit for it. The incumbent who's running voted against that. That wasn't just a vote against me, that was a vote against all businesses that had shipping containers. There's over 40 out there. After we got the first legal permit to be able to have that shipping container, the village went out and issued tickets to all the other people with shipping containers. That was an error. That was wrong. They didn't deserve tickets. Angie from Pioneer, who has a shipping container, she doesn't deserve a ticket for having a shipping container. She deserves a solution. And that's what I want to bring to the board. Solutions, where we can go through the ordinances, and when it's obvious that we have a problem in town, we look to fix those problems. Thank you.
I'm Deepastriya Kumar again. There is no specific ordinance that I wish to change. It is not fair only to address the codes and the immediate concerns to a particular business. There are 4,206 ordinances, some of which are definitely outdated, some of which do not apply to current circumstances. However, we need a process and some clear-cut parameters to make good changes to the ordinances. If we choose to go one by one, it would take forever and be totally inefficient. It took 2 hours just to decide on how many chickens you should have in your backyard. So just think about the timing. We need to identify the codes that are most detrimental to the greatest number of businesses and those that generate the greatest number of violations. We need to categorize those violations and choose those codes that are outdated to fix first. Rewriting ordinances should be done with uniformity, longevity, and safety in mind. We should add automatic adjustments in the instance of pandemics or natural calamities. I believe a business concerns committee made up of board members, staff, and multiple business leaders is necessary to first come up with a consistent process and to address some of the most pressing codes related to the concerns of Villa Park citizens and businesses.
I'm old, I have to keep putting my glasses on. Sorry. My name's Cheryl Tucker. I would not change any of the ordinance because they need to be looked at an individual basis. To group them together or change ordinances just to change them does not respect the people that took the time to put them together. I realize there seems to be a failure of consistency with our ordinances, with some businesses and residents violating ordinances, while other businesses and residents feel they are being constantly scrutinized and ticketed. Possibly it's as simple as just a lack of communication from one department to another in the village. We should be looking at how the current ordinances affect the village of Villa Park as a whole, not as individuals. All citizens' input is being given equal consideration and not waiting another, because we are all equally affected on it. We should all equally have a decision on making them.
Thank you to our trustee candidates for answering the first question. We will now answer the second question that was posed by a citizen in the village. We will again ask that you take 1.5 minutes to answer the question and reintroduce yourself when you come to the microphone. The question is, many candidates talk about bringing in new businesses. How do you propose to support existing businesses while continuing to move the village of Villa Park forward?
Mark Bregman again. I think this is a philosophical issue that needs to really be addressed by our leadership, and maybe we need a change in leadership. The goal is to embrace our businesses, our current businesses, and our departments should be doing everything they can to help support them. The philosophical issue is, from our leaders, it needs to trickle down to our department heads. From the department heads, it needs to trickle down to the employees. When there's an issue with a local business, or a local business has an issue, and the police respond, or community development responds, public work responds, the first thing that should be doing is trying to solve the issue, to work with that business to try to solve whatever problems they're having, not issue a ticket right out of the box and hope that they can solve their own problem. So my goal is to actually be more supportive, to have the village be more supportive, and all the departments be more supportive of our local businesses. There isn't just one set of rules. We have too many diverse businesses and too many different needs. But I think a philosophical change in the way the village does things is definitely in need. Thank you.
Jack Corkery, back again. So I think this is a great question. I think it's really important to support the businesses we already have in town. Villa Park has had some problems historically with retaining business, and the small businesses we have here are a huge part of our community and our economy. I think the number one thing that we can do to support them right now is to work on developing our infrastructure. It's no secret that we have a lot of problems with our roads here in Villa Park. Anyone will tell you that. There's been great strides made on that recently, but there's still a lot of work to do. And I'd like to, as trustee, work to expedite road repairs, make them faster, make it easier for people to come here, to drive. People don't want to drive in Villa Park, and that means that they don't want to eat in Villa Park or spend money in Villa Park. That's a problem. Road infrastructure, however, is not the only thing I'd like to address. I would also like to see the village do more to support bike and pedestrian infrastructure here in town. We've seen a lot of growth on the Villa Avenue area by Ovaltine Factory, and I believe a big part of that is because it's so walkable. It's easy to get around, it's right by the two trails. The trails are a huge asset, you can see your neighbors. We've got a unique challenge here in Villa Park because we don't have just one downtown, we have several. But I think if they were better connected by pedestrian walkways, by bike paths, if we had more greenery, more green space along, say, St. Charles to make it easier to get around, I think the businesses in those areas would benefit quite a bit. It would help them grow, and it would help us retain them in the long term, which would be a huge benefit to this town as well. Thank you.
Matthew D'Alessandro. I'm going to echo a little bit of what Jack said with the roads. I got a big part of my start with community outreach was the road referendum that was passed and now is almost complete. However, the work is not going to be done. We need to be coming up with plans to keep resurfacing roads, resurface more roads. But the critical part is going to be working with engineers, working with architects, and figuring out what is the time frame that these roads are going to start deteriorating, and have a plan to resurface them once they do start deteriorating, and have a plan to fund that through revenues from our businesses. I think roads are the most critical part to helping develop and develop our current businesses, as it allows accessibility from people across the town, but not just our town, from other towns to come explore the unique and great businesses we have here in Villa Park. Thank you.
Jack Kozar. So we need to bring in more and new business. We need a business plan to understand what businesses that we want to attract in the village. Everything that our village does needs to be geared towards promoting Villa Park at large. We need to look at what businesses are going to make the most money for our village. 1% of sales tax, 1.5% for places for eating tax, fees, things of that sort. We have a reputation problem in Villa Park. The reputation is that it's difficult to have a business, to start a business in Villa Park. There's a reason why we are the least developed suburb in all our surrounding neighbors, of all our surrounding neighbors. We need to change that reputation. And by doing so, we will improve the business community. A rising tide lifts all ships. So as we improve our business community, we have 5 economic drivers: North Avenue, Roosevelt, St. Charles, Villa, Ardmore. As we improve the businesses there, we attract more people into our Villa Park, more people from outside Villa Park that will come in and spend money in Villa Park. Villa Park competes with Elmhurst. Villa Park competes with Addison. It's not the individual businesses within Villa Park that we are concerned about competition. We need to look at what we're doing as a whole and bring more business in. Thank you.
Deepasriya Kumar. We need to build infrastructure and public services around the different business districts in Villa Park to draw consumers to that area. Demand drives business. As an economist, I can tell you that. For example, building an aquatic center at Lions Park would generate a great deal of foot traffic for the businesses in that area. But let's think ahead, Villa Park, and keep in mind parking and traffic issues when taking that into consideration. Retention of businesses is dependent on diversity and spillover effects. There are only so many businesses of one type that can be sustained in a community unless they cross-feed each other. For example, you may not want to have a set or row of the same grocery stores in a village, but you do want to have different grocery stores that cater to different diverse populations. Let's think about North Avenue. There are over 20 auto part and auto service stores on North Avenue, and they're flourishing. So there's hope for us yet. Two-way communication between business and government is essential for better business. For example, businesses need to be informed if you're going to do something with their road work. Business owner time is precious. Ease of submitting and tracking permit and license applications through improved technology can make life much easier for businesses. Villa Park citizens, business support hinges on asking businesses what they need, spreading out public initiatives across various business districts, fostering diversity, and reaching out to new businesses in a strategic, beneficial manner.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Tucker again. We need to open our ears as Village. We need to listen to how the people already see our community, what businesses they would like to see develop here, and maximize the strength we already have. Allowing multiple of the same type of businesses within the Village just because that looks like an economic growth will only muddy the waters. We then need to develop a strategy to offer incentives for new businesses, that we can make it easier with permits and code enforcement being changed to develop these new businesses. But we also, as Village people, want to locate within our village while also supporting our longtime businesses. Leaving them out, the longtime businesses, just to support new businesses to come in is a mistake. The longtime businesses are the ones that have kept Villa Park going all these years, and keeping them in the public eye is very important.
Thank you to our trustee candidates for answering the two questions from the community. We are now going to wrap up with them, and we ask that each candidate come up and give a 1-minute concluding statement this evening. Again, we will go in alphabetical order, and if you could please state your name before your conclusion statement, that would be great. Thank you.
Mark Bregman. I can't stand up here and say that I am the absolute best candidate that there is. I think that all of the candidates here, they're all diverse. We have a representation of young people, old people, business people, educators, and everybody brings something to the table. My background in law enforcement, my background as an employee of the Village is what I'm offering. It's simply just a different perspective on how to look at things. And that's what I hope to bring to the board. Thank you.
Jack Corkery. I'm running because I really do believe that Villa Park is a special place. It's an affordable working class community. It's somewhere where seniors can retire, where young families can come to raise their kids in a place that's both safe and affordable and beautiful to live in. I don't have to tell you all that's becoming harder and harder to find in America now, but we've got it here. As I said before, the suburbs are really at a crossroads. We're seeing lots of growth, lots of new people coming in, and I think there's ways that we can absolutely harness that for the good of the town. But it's important that we maintain what keeps Villa Park such a wonderful place to live, which I really believe is the community. It's diverse, people of all ages, income groups, everything, and it's really something special. And so as trustee, I'd like to be a steward for that. I'd like to preserve that, and like to make sure that we have the community of Villa Park going forward and involved in all decisions we make at the board level. Because without the community of Villa Park, we really are just another town. Thank you.
Matthew D'Alessandro. Two words I like to live by and near dear to my heart: honesty and integrity. Those two values I will bring to this position, and I will always be honest and make decisions with integrity. Like I said before, I feel a sense of responsibility coming back home to Villa Park and to make this place the best place that it can possibly be. I want to roll up my sleeves, do the work, and listen to the people to see what they want, and to get public engagement so we can make decisions as a community and have the board do the work to enact the people's will. I believe that this village has so much potential, and I want to see it through, and that is why I am running for village trustee. I thank you again for your time, and please remember to get out and vote on April 6th. Thank you.
Jack Kozar. I'm the only candidate running for trustee that is a small business owner. Many of you have been to our business, Fuel Creme and a Movable Feast. You've seen that I don't just talk the talk, I'm walking the walk. I've invested in Villa Park, I believe in Villa Park, I believe in the future of Villa Park. Next week, next Monday, we're having a political forum on that property where everybody from the community can ask questions of the candidates. The candidates won't know what those questions are. We have a retired judge from Wheaton who is going to moderate that event. This will be a good event for all the trustees not to have time to prepare their answers and bring note cards up to the podium with them, but it's where the rubber really hits the road, and candidates will have to answer honestly and what's truly in their heart and on the top of their head. I invite you all to join us at that event. You can email me at jack@villaparktrustee.com. You can visit my website, villaparktrustee.com, or my Facebook page to find out more information. Thank you.
Deepasriya Kumar. Improving Villa Park is a function of putting various perspectives together. There are 6 great candidates, each of whom has their own perspective. Every candidate brought up various problems over the course of this election. I believe I am the candidate that can put it all together with a consistent data-driven approach and coming up with reasonable solutions. I believe in simple, flexible ideas for improvement. Solutions that involve reaching out to our community, reaching out to our fellow board members, looking outside of Villa Park for concepts, considering taxpayer burdens, and studying feasibility. Solutions that address the ever-changing, beautifully diverse community we have in Villa Park. Solutions that improve business retention and increase the number of businesses that are entering our beautiful town. As a long-term resident of Villa Park, an educator, a mom, I believe my purpose as trustee is to foster communication and improve process so that our community can thrive and grow.
In closing, I'm your independent voice in Villa Park. You can assure that I am able to vote on all issues that will come before the board without a conflict of interest or an inkling of personal gain. I researched every board packet and agenda before each meeting, so I am prepared to ask the tough questions and make wise decisions for the people of Villa Park. I am not afraid to speak my mind when I feel an agenda item is not in the best interest of Villa Park. I will continue to scrutinize the expenditures to ensure your taxpayer dollars are spent appropriately. As a longtime resident, as you can tell, I get choked up when I talk about Villa Park. I take the immediate pride in this village, and when re-elected, when you give me that chance, I will continue to be the voice for the people of Villa Park that may not be able to talk for themselves or not most vocal.
Thank you again to the Villa Park Village trustee candidates. We truly appreciate all of you being here this evening. And thank you to the folks watching on Facebook Live. We know it's been a long night. We are almost to the finish line now, as we are going to take a break for a few moments as we transition between the village trustee candidates, and we will have the village president candidates come up. So again, we're going to take a short break and we will be back. And thank you again for being with us this evening. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Villa Park Junior Women's Club Candidates Forum. We are at the end of our forum, so thank you to those of you who are on Facebook Live this evening for being here with us. We know it's been a long evening. We've had a lot of candidates for different positions here tonight, so again, thank you for your patience with this. It's the first time we've done this as a Facebook Live, and the first year, after many years, the Junior Women's Club has done this event. This is obviously the first year we've done that with COVID, so we've had safety protocols going on between each speaker and each group of people. So again, thank you for sticking with us this evening. So without further ado, we will have our village president candidates come up. We have two candidates running for one position. We have Nick Cazzone and Bob Wagner. They will come up here and give an introductory 2 minutes, an introduction to who they are and why they're running for village president. After they give their introductions, then we have 2 questions from the community that we'll ask each of them. They have a minute and a half to answer those questions, or maybe actually for the president, president candidates, they actually get 2 minutes to answer their questions. And then we will wrap up with a concluding statement, and then our forum will be over. So again, we would like to ask Nick Cazzone to please come up and tell us a little bit about himself and why he has chosen to run for village president.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Junior Women's Club, obviously, for having us all here today. It's a great event that they hold every year. I'm a 36-year resident of Villa Park. I moved here in 1985, the year after we got married. I grew up in Elmhurst and didn't want to live in Villa Park. But after a couple of years of living here, we decided we really liked the community. We liked the bike paths, we liked the businesses that we frequented here, but most of all, we liked the residents. We had a great neighborhood that we lived in. Once we had kids, I started getting involved with athletics with them. I coached basketball, baseball, and soccer with both kids. As they moved on to Willowbrook, I was involved with the Willowbrook Athletic Boosters. I was president for 5 years. During that time, I was on the committee for the referendum, for the Step It Up referendum, where we raised $137 million for Addison Trail and Willowbrook High School. I was the chairman of the fundraising committee. We raised about $40,000 from businesses and contractors for signs and advertising that we used to promote the referendum. Also involved with the Dan Gibbons Turkey Trot Foundation. I've been involved with that since about 1984, when it started. I'm currently the vice president of that commission, and we've raised over $4 million for hunger over the time that we've been working. When my kids graduated, I decided to run for the village board. I've been a member for 6 years now. What differentiates me from the other candidates is that I'm a small business owner. I've owned a small environmental consulting firm for over 15 years. I have a lot of dealings with regulatory agencies, Illinois EPA, State Fire Marshal, City of Chicago, Department of Public Health. I know what it's like to deal with these agencies. I can give the village that experience. I also know what it's like when times are tough, what you have to do to make hard decisions. And also when times are good, not to go crazy on spending. And I think that experience and my work experience here in Villa Park leads me to be the best candidate.
Good evening. My name is Bob Wagner, and for those of you who don't know me, I'd like to introduce myself. I've lived in Villa Park for 38 years with my wife Marion. We raised 3 children here, all attended District 45 and Willowbrook High School. I worked 32 years for Bridgestone Firestone as a facility project manager. I currently work for the DePage County Health Department, first as a sample instructor and now assisting with the COVID vaccination effort. I want to stress that I am passionate about community service. I have been served in Villa Park in one function or another for 30 years, 15 years on the library board, and cumulative 10 years on the village board. Some of the important goals for me are improving communication with our residents. I want to upgrade the information on our website. I want to pursue new ways to provide information to our residents. And I want to institute an annual State of the Village address so that we're able to tell village residents the direction that we are choosing. I want to work on disaster preparedness. I want to update our village emergency response plan. I want to utilize our community emergency response team members, or CERT. Economic development is also very important to me. How am I different from my opponent? I believe my experience in local government makes me a more qualified candidate. I am more connected with the community. I would be a collaborative leader and seek input when making decisions from residents and trustees. I would be a full-time village president, and I have more time for the job. I believe in more diverse development for the village. My opponent is a liaison to the Economic Development Commission, and I think we need to try some new ideas in this area. My opponent also indicated in the Daily Herald questionnaire that a new pool and recreation center could be put on the back burner. I disagree. Thank you.
There were two questions from the community for the village president candidates this evening. So we will, just as they came up and gave their introductions, we will ask Nick to answer first and then followed by Bob. The first question that was asked is, please define the role of the village president and how do you think your experiences as a current trustee prepared you to take on that role?
Nick Cazzone. Villa Park government is what's called a strong manager type of government. This means that the village manager acts as a CEO of a business. He runs the day-to-day operations of the public works, fire, police. Village board is the policy maker, and we give directions to the manager. We also approve the annual budget and adopt ordinances. The village president presides at the board meetings and acts as a liaison between the residents, the village manager, and interacts with the board members. He's also the liquor commissioner. My experience as a trustee will help in that I know the direction that the Villa Park is going. I am the liaison to the Economic Development Commission, so I know what's going on with the businesses in our town. My experience there will help keep our businesses going, keep them going strong, and attract new businesses. From speaking to many residents over the years, in interacting with the board and the village manager, I have a good understanding of the needs of the residents, as well as the financial limitations that we face. We all have our ideal vision of every project that has been planned, from completing street repairs, separating storm and sanitary sewer, adding stormwater detention, a recreation center, and our bike paths. But my 6 years on the board have shown me that we do have a finite amount of money to spend, and we need to be practical in where we spend it. As the liquor commissioner, the president must balance the need to bring in new business along with associated increases in sales tax revenue with the stigma of having too many businesses serving liquor. My time as trustee has given me insight to the feelings of our residents and the types of businesses that they'd like to have in this town. And I believe that will be my best part of going on there. Thank you.
Bob Wagner. I would just like to briefly enumerate some of the responsibilities or roles of the village president. The village president, of course, is the official head of the village. presides at all regular meetings, serves as a liquor commissioner, makes all appointments to boards and commissions, signs all important documents such as intergovernmental agreements, ordinances, etc. The village president is, of course, the face of the village. I've presided as a president pro tem at a village board meeting. I presided at many coffee with the boards. I've served 4 years as library board president. I meet on a regular basis with our village manager. I believe that I'm prepared for the role as village president because of my 10 years of experience as a trustee. I've been a trustee under 2 different village presidents, and I've also been exposed to 2 other village presidents during my time. And I think I know what works best and what works and what does not. I've also seen some issues that have surfaced that deal with communication. We've had many residents come before us from Charles Avenue, Maple Street, and Pine Street with the complaint that there's not adequate communication about why projects have been delayed. As your village president, I would make sure to communicate clearly and consistently with our village residents. I want to improve walking and biking for our residents to make a safer environment for that. And I want to seek out different opinions and topics that are important to the board. I've also been involved quite a bit with DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference and the Illinois Municipal League. And I think these are the things that make me the best choice. Thank you.
The second question from the community is, how do you propose to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion in the village during your term? We'll have Nick and Bob both come up here, and please just restate your name again before you answer the question. Thank you.
Nick Cazzone. To start, I think Villa Park is a very diverse community to begin with. We have very many different ethnic, socioeconomic, and religious groups that live in Villa Park. Both of my children are adopted, and after we got our son, we were trying for a second, and we're not able to get a child in the United States. So we decided to go international. And one of the reasons that we did is we looked at a Willowbrook High School yearbook from the year that we were looking, and we saw how many different types of people were at Willowbrook. I think Villa Park has gotten a lot more diverse since then, too, in the 30 years that we've had our kids. But to promote diversity and equity and inclusion in Villa Park, one of the things that we need to do is overcome this north versus south feelings that are so prevalent. It's not an easy situation to overcome. My mother-in-law was born in Villa Park in 1924, and she always said that that issue was prevalent back in the 30s when she went to school here. However, we need to engage more people from the north side of Villa Park in our government if we ever want to see a change. For the last 6 years that I've been on the board, there's only been one board member who resided north of the railroad tracks. We need to overcome that. I'd love to see more residents from that area attend board meetings and learn the workings of our government, and then get them to run for office so that they can help determine the direction that we travel. I'd also like to have periodic town hall meetings on both sides of town, obviously once the pandemic is over, to get more residents involved in all of the activities that occur around here. I also would encourage all of our staff to be conscious of diversity when hiring new employees. Of course, we always want to hire the best candidates possible, but promoting inclusion and diversity when hiring will go a long way.
Bob Wagner. Like many families, mine has become more diverse through marriage, and I have a great appreciation of that. I believe in diversity and equity in my core. After the tragedy of the shooting that occurred at the mosque in New Zealand in 2019, I was the only Villa Park official that attended the event mourning the death of those worshipers. I believe that we need to work towards more inclusion and more diversity. Based on current demographics, 35% of Villa Park residents are from a minority group. As your village president, I would, in the appointment process to boards and commissions, seek out more diverse candidates with different points of view. I would encourage candidates from different backgrounds and ethnicities to run for government. Although the board doesn't hire staff, I would encourage the manager, when possible, to have a goal of diversifying staff, and I think we've done that. I would seek out more minority-owned businesses, and I'd have more diversity in our businesses, which would provide for a more stable income for the village. If you have ever stopped at Villa Park Fruit Market on North Avenue, you would realize by the choice of foods there how diverse we are. I would also work to have more gender-neutral language in our ordinances. If you read our ordinances, it's he exclusively. We can have gender-neutral language. I would be an accessible village president, and I would institute office hours so that residents would know when they can access me. I would also like to look into instituting a community relations commission that might be able to eliminate the use of law enforcement when it comes to disputes between neighbors.
We would now like to ask our village president candidates to please come up and give a concluding statement. Again, we will start with Nick and then Bob. Since we are at the end now, we can give you 2 minutes again, I think. Thank you.
And Nick Kazone. Again, I'd like to thank the Villa Park Junior Women's Club for doing this event. They always do a great job at it. I said at the beginning, I think my experience with civic activities here in Villa Park and my business experience over 35 years and 15 years as a business owner will serve me if I'm elected president. I've grown to love Villa Park and its residents, and I'm excited for the path that Villa Park is currently following. We've heard a lot of talk tonight about communication and openness, and ever since I've been on the board, my cell phone number is on the Villa Park website. People can call me at any time of the day or night and discuss any issues with Villa Park, and I intend to keep that going if I'm elected president. We have a lot of new businesses opening here in Villa Park, and I'd like to continue to see that progressing and bringing good businesses that will help us not only with our sales tax and with giving our residents new places to shop or to eat, but it also makes the rest of the town that much better. We're coming out of the COVID pandemic in really good shape, and we're poised to make great strides in the next few years, and I look forward to leading us along that journey. Thank you.
Bob Wagner. I want to say thank you to the Villa Park Junior Women's Club for this event. I know it was a significant endeavor to put this together, and I just want to say that I'm looking forward to running in Trick or Trot this year. I believe that I am the most experienced candidate running for village president. My 10 years on the village board, 15 years on the library board, my 32 years of work experience in a management position, my wealth of experience on boards and commissions. I'm currently a liaison to 2 different commissions and a member of many different organizations in Villa Park, including the Chamber of Commerce. My only aspiration is to be the best village president possible. I believe I have a better idea of where the village needs to go, and I want to upgrade our parks and amenities for our village residents. I will be a collaborative leader who listens to residents. I understand that Villa Park needs to diversify its businesses while supporting existing businesses. I believe that I will be a departure from our existing leadership, and I will not be more of the same. I'm asking for your vote in early voting and on April 6th. And you can reach me at Facebook at Wagner for Villa Park, by email, wagner4villapark@gmail.com, and my personal cell phone number, 630-484-8856. I welcome your comments, and please reach out to me if you have any concerns. Thank you.
That does conclude our forum for this evening, so we appreciate the village president candidates for being here and all candidates for participating tonight, and we wish everyone good luck with the upcoming election on April 6th. Thank you to all the residents of Villa Park who tuned in and watched. We appreciate you taking the time. We know it was a long evening with many candidates for various positions. We also would like to thank the Village of Villa Park, as well as Parks and Recreation, for allowing us to use the Iowa Community Center. I know it's different than the previous forums we've had in the past. And we also hope that the Villa Park Junior Women's Club was able to help our community make informed choices in the upcoming election via this forum. A replay of tonight's forum will be available in the future on the Village of Villa Park YouTube channel. Finally, if you have further questions about the Villa Park Junior Women's Club, we encourage you to visit our website, www.vpjwc.org, or search for the Villa Park Junior Women's Club on Facebook or Instagram. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight and for listening in on Facebook Live. We truly appreciate it. Have a good evening.